Cool. Good morning, everybody. And let's get your Friday off to a good start. I hope you have had a busy week because you know what? I have, and I feel like I need a weekend. It's only our first week back, though. But you know how these things go. And Simphiwe is here in all her glory, and so is Ben, and we are ready for a fun Friday for you. Look at Ben; he pretends he was here the whole time.
Yeah, he's just like walked in. He's
Ben
like,
slides
"How's the gas?"
in. He slid in.
I was, guys, but James locked me out.
Oh, he locked you out.
He made eye contact with me. He closed the door. He was like, "Ha!" Then he walked away.
He's getting a bit mean, actually.
Whew.
Oh, it's a bit of a mean
We
streak.
have an extra flight of stairs this year in this building.
Oh, did you run? I wonder why you were running. Okay.
Yeah, not a fit.
All right, so let's go. We got lots to do today, and there's plenty to talk about. And I see there's a load of stuff on everybody's agenda. You could, of course, join us in the comment section. We want to hear from you, and you can tell all the people you really, really like about the show and not tell anyone you hate, because they deserve to have bad entertainment.
They do deserve to get smarter and more enlightened.
Oh, so you mean they should be told about the show?
I
Yes.
want to share more in this year, hey?
Yeah. Do them
Well,
a favor.
especially
Do
the good
something
stuff.
good.
Well, we're all back, and it has been a busy week. Sure. I mean, I felt like I was away for a long time, and I mentioned this the other day, but it was only 2 weeks. It felt to me like it was longer, which means either
It's
that
a good sign, right?
I think so.
You
yeah.
rested.
Either that, or I actually like what we do here,
Okay.
which could also be part of it.
True.
I'm hoping it's a bit of both, to
Okay.
be frank. We got loads of stuff to talk about, and by the way, these fires in California are just absolutely unbelievable. The scale of what's going on over there. I mean, if you lived in the Pacific Palisades, it's like an entire. That would be like. Obviously, it's not a like for like comparison, but it would be like wiping out Benoni.
Would that be a bad idea?
Yeah, you
I'm
see-
talking about the.
Yeah, you see, that's why
Easter
I'm
and
saying
beef
it's not a
straight
like
away.
for like comparison. Jesus, Benoni's had a tough time though. Look at these pictures quickly. Before I talk to you about Benoni, these are houses that have burnt. There are all kinds of people. You know, the politicians are all trying to shirk responsibility already. Look at the difference there. I mean, that's not just like, you know, when we have a couple of places burned down, or as horrible as it is if someone loses their home here in South Africa, it's not like the entire neighborhood is like a tinderbox. Look at that. I mean, that is so depressing. You've got schools, you've got public facility. There's a school, Palisades High School. Look what it looks like now. Right?
Has it been confirmed that it was arson?
Well, I mean, this fire might have started. I mean, there are people who've started fires. We've seen
Yeah.
footage is coming out now where people are actually tracking down people who've just wanton destruction on their minds, lit fires. And so there is a lot of that going on. And, you know, people, it's like when there's a riot about something. You know, let's say someone, or a protest. Let's not call it a riot yet at this point, because what happens is people get upset about something. They legitimately get together, they march or they protest or whatever. And then there are always those people who go, this gives me an opportunity to steal a TV. And then that's what they do. So you've got the actual cause of the thing, which may or may not have been arson. It's quite possible. I mean, it could just be that there are shitty people in the world. We know that happens in this country.
Yeah, they're
there
everywhere.
are. No, there are. They're shitty people. But the other problem that we have is that people are already blaming climate change, you see, because that's your get out of jail free card. You know, if you are doing nothing like the leaders in California are, I mean, Governor Gavin Newsom keeps on saying he's not going to clean out the brush under the forests because that's the stuff that burns, right? When on the forest floor, you have leaves that are dry. There's not a lot of water in California, especially at this time of year. They don't have a lot of rain. It can get very, very dry, very, very warm. It's a disaster. And the politicians don't care. They cut the budget of the LA Fire Department by some 17 to 20 million.
And look who they need now.
Well, exactly. And by the way, the new fire chief, who's a ugly lesbian, wanted to bring diversity. Look at her. You can look up a picture of the LA fire chief. You tell me objectively if she's some beautiful, gorgeous supermodel. It's like that fucking horrible woman you put up on the screen the other day. So what was her priority when she came in as the lesbian fire chief of LA? Guess.
Well, diversity.
Diversity.
So I heard for the last 7 years,
Yo, look at that.
they wouldn't let you
Tell
become.
me. I mean, that's like someone's granddad.
So that guy over there said, well, apparently the last 7 years, if you wanted to be a firefighter, cool, but you had to be black, Hispanic, or a woman.
Well,
like really?
Yeah.
that was it. So
Why?
if I went to say, guys, I'm ready to roll up my sleeves, firefighting, tough area this, they'll be like, we'll get back to you. And then they won't.
yeah, there was a famous podcaster who's been trying to like volunteer because he used to be a firefighter, trying to volunteer for months, and they rejected him. He's a white male, so he can't be. And who do you need right now is just anybody who can carry a fire hose.
He wants to be a firefighter.
He wants to be a firefighter.
And
Oh, by the way, the other thing that they did, this is quite interesting, is that anyone who didn't get the COVID vaccine and submit proof that they had the COVID vaccine was fired as well. So some 117, 120 people who were firemen,
Doesn't matter now because they need them.
right. So
Yeah.
But
you
also
guys have done this to yourselves. Plus, guess where the mayor of Los Angeles was while all of this was raging?
not in the Palisades.
No, guess.
Out
Canada.
partying with Beyonce.
She was closer to us than to. She's in Ghana for the president's inauguration.
Oh.
What has the mayor of Los Angeles got to do with the Ghanaian president's inauguration? If I were a Californian resident right now, if my house had burnt down, or even if there was a threat that my house might have burnt down, I would be frothing at the mouth to take this mayor and the governor and everybody else who have been in dereliction of duty and to burn their house down. It's just, we always talk about how crap the ANC are in South Africa as a political party. We talk about all our politicians and we hate them. And I don't blame you. I feel the same way. In fact, I probably feel it more often than most. But look how shit these people are. And this is in a state which is like on its own. Just the state of California is like in the, top 5 economies of the world. It's just a disaster. It's an absolute mess. And then, of course, the conspiracy theorists have got involved now and have said, oh, well, they're burning evidence. That's the whole reason for these fires. The actual reason that people are, starting fires and keeping fires going is because they're burning evidence for Diddy's friends.
Okay.
Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Now, I mean,
Well, that
that's
makes
a
total
lot
sense
of
then.
that's a lot of destruction just to protect some.
But he did have a lot of baby
perverts.
oil, so
And baby oil is obviously very flammable.
Well,
That's
Diddy,
not quick.
the point is Diddy's
Mm.
houses, I think, were on the East Coast. So
Yeah.
okay.
they're not
So the
actually-
person got the location wrong.
But his whole houses were on the West Coast.
maybe. I mean, look, it's apparently spreading into Hollywood now. It's very difficult to get a fire like this under control. We know even when it happens in Cape Town or it happens in these shack fires that we often have break out in South Africa, it's a very, very difficult thing once they get big and messy. But the reason I said Benoni's going through a tough time is someone got hijacked in Benoni yesterday. You hear about this?
No.
So that ordinarily is not the big story
And-
here.
Yeah. that's
Well,
why
it
I
is
didn't know about it.
because they managed to track the car down. Guess where they found it?
In the restaurant.
Delmas.
You would think, right? But actually here in Houghton. And do you know whose house it was at? The house that Nelson Mandela died in. And do you know who is living in that house?
His children is
His grandchildren.
Yes.
Mbuso.
Didn't they want to sell the surname or something at one point?
Yeah, but
Those,
oaks are so
I mean, let me
dodgy.
tell you something. You talk about privilege, right? You talk about privilege in this country of ours. And I never want to hear that word bandied about again, because some people actually work goddamned hard every day. And then some people inherit a name like Mandela. They inherit a lot of money.
Yeah.
They inherit the ability to make money just by being present, not actually having to put very much effort in. And then someone like Mbuso Mandela, who's his grandson, who's also been in trouble with the law a couple of times, turns out to also be involved in this hijacking. And the car that was hijacked is parked at the house. And guess who's there? Him and a couple of his friends. And they said they found drug equipment, which means syringes and all that sort of shit. So there's a lot of crazy stuff going on there. It just really pisses me off when you hear like somebody, and you watch when like this gets taken to court, then you're going to hear Mbuso Mandela saying, "Oh, but it's so unfair. Can't a young black man avoid, having to have the cops victimize him like this?" And you watch, it's all going to happen, right?
Fall asleep already.
I know. So here is someone who has privilege in bucket loads.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, just by virtue of being related to our greatest and first president, you also have a responsibility, because every time anyone has privilege, whether it's because you have money, you have the responsibility to look after it. It's because you have a house in Houghton, you have the responsibility to maintain it, which they haven't been doing either. You have the responsibility, if you've got a surname like that, to honor it, to build on the legacy and not to destroy it. But this is what happens when you get lots of privilege and you have zero sense of responsibility. And I can't help thinking, because there is no way that that kid's grandfather would be sitting there going, "This is okay right now."
I'm
He would
so
be-
disappointed.
Isn't it revolting, huh?
Hugely.
I mean, like you have
Yeah,
great
rubbish.
you have a greater responsibility than most people because that's your surname. That's also why you've got the privilege. So the two go together. People don't seem to be able to understand this. It's easy to call out, I'm jealous of him because he's wealthy. I'm jealous of her because she's really good looking. I'm jealous of this person because they have X surname or they've been given a job that I wouldn't be able to just walk into. And if those people, the corresponding people, don't have any sense of responsibility, they're not going to have that privilege for long. So yeah, disappointing. And I just think, what the hell, man? And it's trending all over Twitter at the moment, so it's a big story. We'll obviously follow up and see what's going on here. But there were 4 people arrested in this hijacking incident.
Yeah.
In a shocking turn of events, Nelson Mandela's grandson was arrested along with 3 other people in a suspected hijacking. The vehicle was parked at Mandela's historic Houghton residence in Sandton. That's the house that he died in.
Sure, he's turning in his grave right now.
Yeah. Joburg Metro Police Department issued the statement talking about where the car was found. I see Newsroom Africa reporting it, IOL, News 24, SABC News. They spoke to Xolani Fila, who is the JMPD spokesperson. So this is not some piece of conjecture, where they say, allegedly, this is what happened.
This is attention seeking, right? Because basically they just sold a Corolla.
It was.
And it was parked outside
I'll
the
tell you
house.
what
It's
the
not like
car-
it went to
Corolla.
a chop shop.
Yeah.
It's not like they know what they're doing. This is attention seeking.
Smart. Doesn't have brains here.
No.
In his head. That's what happened. He was just like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna use my surname.
I'm not reading any article about this story whatsoever. You've just summed it up right there.
I'm telling
He
you.
doesn't have brains in his head.
Like there's nothing. It's empty over there, because why would you do this? A. And number 2, if you're gonna commit crime, why then take the evidence back to your place? Dumb.
Because you don't realize that the thing's got a tracker in it, or that the police have any way of following up. I mean, listen,
No brains in head.
no brains in head. That's a great explanation for so much stupidity that we
You
see
just
around.
put a
No
stamp
brains in
over
head.
that photo. No brains in head.
NBIH. That's Simphiwe's new thing. We're going to make T-shirts. No brains in head. I love it. I think that's great. By the way, this guy about 9 years ago, this Mbuso Mandela, was charged with raping a 15-year-old at a bar in Johannesburg. That was about 9 years ago. So I got to ask you, like, really, people are having such a go at the whole Mandela family, basically, because since the old man died, they have all been fighting over the scraps like you cannot believe it. Everything that's been done since Nelson Mandela died, it seems, has been like a feeding frenzy for what the family can take and strip from the legacy.
Mm.
So like whatever they can get their filthy, greedy hands on, they have, and and then they tear it apart between them, because it's not good enough that they can chop up the carcass and share out the bits equally. They must chop up the carcass and then tear it between their jaws.
And amongst and each other, really.
It's unbelievable.
It's
I mean, what a terrible legacy, really, for a surname and a man who you know,
Yeah.
I mean, he gave up his whole life.
But that's just it.
He stopped being president after his first term so he could carry on doing good, but he'd hand over the reins, which never happens. People can't let go of power. This guy did everything right. He did everything right. He was the most famous man in the world, and he was the most respected man in the world.
Yes.
You had celebrities queuing down the street to meet this guy, right? Which doesn't happen anymore. There's no one like that in the world right now. No one even comes close. This is what his descendants are doing.
So clearly Nelson Mandela was the black sheep of the family. He was the good guy, and everybody else was just trash.
Yeah,
Like,
but
he was
he was obviously good at being Nelson Mandela, and you see this with sports people as well. It's like they're fantastic on the field. All the things you just mentioned now, that was Nelson on the field. It's hard to be that and a family person. Raising families is damn hard. Being that person is damn hard. To be so public facing, you give up that to be as good as what he was.
All right, so
I think his legacy is fine, but unfortunately, he had offspring, and they will only fuck it up for you.
I have something to show you, which is much more exciting.
Oh, cool.
So a lot of people in South Africa complain. I don't know why you'd complain about this. Potholes, having to replace your tires. I mean, what's wrong with you? Why would you moan all the time about this shit? What's wrong with you? It's so boring. So sometimes there's a nail in your tire because someone left it in the street. Sometimes you spend hundreds and maybe even thousands of rands on new tires, and then you hit one of those deep potholes, like the ones.
Yeah, the
But
ones
you
you can
must-
swim in even.
But I don't want to hear about your moaning and bitching. Just get on with your life. And yes, I know it's going to cost you lots of money, and I know sometimes you don't have insurance, or sometimes the insurance goes, "This is the first time this week." There's a car that can save you all of this trouble, and that's why I have no sympathy anymore. Look, the one that they use here in this video looks like it probably costs a fair amount of money. But BYD, I'm not sure who BYD is, obviously a manufacturer.
Sounds Chinese already.
Okay. They have showcased a luxury electric supercar, which is called the Yang Wang. I don't know if that's the sexiest name in the world, but you'll see it's not a bad looking car. U9, it's in a video at the Consumer Electronics Show, which is the biggest show in the world when it comes to technological innovation that is now in the consumer market, right? That you can buy from shops or that you can get or online or whatever. So it was released in February of 2024, this car. It can jump 6 meters forward thanks to a suspension and hydraulic system, which no other car has. The intelligent body control system allows for adjustable suspension of up to 75 millimeters and a peak lifting speed of 500 millimeters per second, creating a lifting force of over 1 ton. Now, you two are too young to remember Knight Rider with David Hasselhoff.
Knight Rider?
And Kit, the car that he used to ride. There was a button there that he would press called Turbo Boost.
Yes.
And he'd be able to go over things on the road.
It turned the world into slow-mo.
This is what this car can do.
The Yang Wang.
The Yang Wang. The U9 offers intelligent racing assistance, but was limited to 30 racetracks in China. It can basically do what other cars wish they could do, and what many of us in South Africa wish our cars could do. So take a look at this video and you'll see what I mean. LGBTQ flag. Watch. Right. I think that's quite cool.
I'm
Well, I
impressed.
think that's quite cool. I'm thrilled that they didn't, that the car hurt the LGBTQ flag, because we know people are so disrespectful. They drive over LGBTQ flags all the time. So upsetting. And, it's just the worst thing a car can do with those filthy, dirty tires of theirs is drive over that LGBTQ flag. So this one's been programmed even to do that. Isn't that amazing?
I love it. I love seeing a car ad. Jaguar.
Yes, a car ad with a car in it. Yeah, good point. Well put.
So yeah, I'm very impressed. I think I'd want to take a test in that beast.
I reckon if you try corner that thing at speed, you're going to get rolled with all kinds of tires screeching and all kinds of stuff. So I love it. It's great because like China are just flooding the world with cars,
Mm-hmm.
decent cars, well priced, all that kind of stuff. But
I reckon in South Africa, there'll be 9 out of every 10 cars in the next 5 years will be from China.
But a lot goes into making a car, which that car is trying to be. Okay, so they're trying to take the styling of McLaren.
Yeah, sure.
The styling of McLaren doesn't just happen overnight. That's been over years of evolution.
No,
to make
but we
those
know
cars.
this. I mean, like they retro engineer everything in China. There aren't
Yes.
original ideas coming from there, but this seems fairly original.
So
I mean, they're probably just retrofitting
there's nothing
Knight Rider
original about this car.
episodes.
It's
Knight Rider
yes,
from the 90s.
somebody who had
80s.
a slightly creative idea, which is probably rare in China.
Yeah,
they're like, no, we're making this thing's going to jump. So I still wish that the original team of Top Gear was around to review that car, because what they would put that through, it would be hilarious.
Yeah, because as you get in, like the console would break off or
Everything
whatever.
will be just not quite right.
Yeah.
Like credit to them. I think it's great. I've actually I've watched on YouTube a whole bunch of old Top Gear stuff. And
There we go. There's Knight Rider.
Yeah.
See?
Oh.
That was the car. It used to turbo boost.
And it spoke.
God, I used to love that. Oh, I wished my car could do that when I first got one.
It's still a cool car.
Okay.
What's it called again?
Well,
That?
Kit was the name of the car.
Yeah, but what kind of car
actual
is that?
car, I think it was a.
No,
I think
not
it
a
was.
Corvette.
Look, it was a.
Something with an L. Doesn't matter. We'll get to it.
It was
look up what kind of car it is.
I
Otherwise,
think
we're
it
gonna
was
sit here
like
all
it was
day.
a Corvette of some sort, but it wasn't like a production sort of car. It was a kit car.
It was a kid car.
Okay.
Yeah, so I started watching these old episodes of Top Gear, and they're still actually so good. They really are. They've aged really, really well.
Well,
Pontiac.
No, it's not. Is it Pontiac?
Yes, Pontiac.
Really? How
That's it,
embarrassing.
Pontiac Trans. I
Trans
was going to
Am.
say Trans Am. They must bring back the Trans Am.
Oh, you see, a Trans Am would never ever hurt an LGBTQ flag. Yonda says in Greenpoint, it would have to jump a couple of times over the alphabet people's flag that's painted on the main road. Yeah, that the mayor or they're always making a big fuss of that gay sidewalk or whatever it is, crosswalk.
Oh, that one
the
where the gay
one.
places
Yeah.
used to be,
Yeah.
where Bronx used to be.
The funny thing is, all the gay places aren't there anymore, but the flag remains. It's just bizarre. All right, so that's a cool thing. At least let's give credit where it's due. People are thinking about how to deal with the kinds of problems that we have, and in South Africa, potholes are a big problem.
I love the
might help.
idea of that car.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really do.
I mean,
It's
even if
gonna
they
be a
made
good
it
car.
less McLaren-y,
Yeah.
and they put that into the other stuff that they bring into South Africa, people would buy it for that.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, you see a pothole coming on. Do you think you have the time and the sort
Nah.
of ability to press the button?
Nah,
I
And
mean,
then-
if you
and then
know
you
the
jump into,
road,
like-
I think the car tells you. That's the thing.
If
It
the
like
car-
maps out the road a couple of meters
That'd be
ahead of
cool.
you.
but if you know the road, most of the time it'd be like there's a pothole over there, so you're already.
Well, if you're
I
driving,
I mean,
mean,
it would be cool
if
to
you're
like
driving
take
in the
off
East
and
Cape-
boost over the hole, right?
if you drive to Dullstrom, that thing needs to jump around like a flamingo, though, because you can't just go jump and then there, because the next pothole's already there. So what's the
So you're
double
gonna
jump?
do touch and go, just. whoop.
What's the double jump ability?
Don't know. I
I
mean,
should
now
call it the Impala.
But also what happens
now you
when
should
you're
be
in traffic?
driving a giant rabbit. That's what you're gonna need
That's the
to do
next step.
because there's no other way.
Basically, a massive pogo stick with like seats and
Just
back
walk.
thrusters.
Just walk. Unbelievable. Listen, I don't know about you guys, but everything with all this rain that we've been having now is so lush and ridiculous.
Yes.
Like I was talking all of last year, the end of the year, especially about my vegetable garden. It's a jungle. There are leaves this big growing on the cucumber plants, which I planted from seed. And I've got chilies now, massive fucking chilies. I got plants this high. It's ridiculous. I only planted these things in October.
It's so beautiful this time of year. I mean, we haven't seen the sun much, but it's just so beautiful.
Lots of rain.
The rain can stop.
And we won't talk about the weather because we know how boring that is.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything fun happening over the weekend? You got any plans that are worthy of discussion?
I'm playing golf twice, going for a massage, and watching Manchester United lose.
That sounds like a good weekend.
just off the top of my head. I mean, there's other stuff as well.
Yeah.
Are they is Man United still on their losing streak? I know.
Well, yeah, but it's FA Cup this weekend, which we'll get to in a bit in the sport. But Sandila, of course, my co-host on the Bounce Show, catch it every Thursday at 4 p.m. He is a huge, he is a huge fan, and he's adamant that they're going to win this week because Arsenal lost on Tuesday.
Aren't they like lost on the log or something? Like,
no, I mean obviously they're not lost. They're like 13th out of 20.
It's not great.
It's not great at all.
No.
It's quite embarrassing, but also funny for everyone else.
I also see that the EFF just won't die. I mean, it's amazing.
No, they're dying a slow, painful death.
No, but it's like that. It's like when you hit an animal on the road, and I'm not saying this happened to me anytime recently, but it's like you hit the animal and then it kind of limps, and then it almost begs you to hit it again, just so you put it out of its misery. Yeah. I mean, Julius, now, you know how when you've got a WhatsApp group?
Yeah.
And everybody leaves the WhatsApp group, and then you become the admin. and then before you know it, you're the admin because you're the only one left on the group. That's what's happening here. It's the most just depressing thing for him.
Left, right, and center. People are resigning. They're quitting. They're going.
This guy. He must be sitting in that house that Mazzotti bought him with a bottle of Johnny Blue that some other white capitalist bought him, and he must be drinking himself into an absolute stupor at the moment because he's got. I mean. So Ndlozi, Wian Ndlozi yesterday decided he's going to resign.
Yes.
Can you imagine your friends, the people you gave shelter and succor to when they were turfed out of the ANC Youth League? You raised these people by hand. Floyd, Buyiseni.
He's got all the stories about everybody.
Terrible. And well, also, he must tell the stories then.
It's just a reminder that no matter what business you're in, right? Whatever it is, you have to have some substance.
And loyalty. Well, like it does count.
You got to have some substance for people to actually want to be part of it because at least MK's got new lies. And that's where they're going.
Can you imagine how great Jacob Zuma feels? I was thinking about him the other day.
He's the king of that team.
Just after I thought about the EFF and how terrible Julius must be feeling, I thought, you know, Gedlichlik is sitting in his house in Kandla now, and he's sitting there going, because remember what Julius said about him, pay back the money, all that stuff. This is ancient history now. You imagine Jacob Zuma sitting there at the moment going,
Jacob Zuma said, I want you one by one, and that's what he is doing. It's so sad. I wouldn't want to be Julius right now. I don't know what he's going to do with the EFF.
Well, it's like
what has he done with it ever?
But there was
it's
a
like
bit
a
of hope.
Stockfell that no one's in.
Yes, there was a bit of hope that we'll get some money. You know, we'll get something one day, someday.
Yeah, one day.
But
just
now,
keep working at it, guys. Just keep going.
Yeah, now
and
it's
all
just
jumping ship. And you know, I also think Jacob Zuma is like that person who, like, you do something horrible to him. Once I had a friend of mine, I was on holiday, and a friend of mine pushed me into the pool. I had all my clothes on. Oh, look, I didn't have anything, didn't have my phone on me or anything. It was funny. It was also the middle of summer, so it wasn't like the worst thing you could do. And I think there'd been a lot of drinking involved. Anyway, I got out of the pool, and I just went up to him. I went really close, and I said, "Sleep with one eye open." I said, it may not come today, may not be in 5 years, may not even be 20 years, but one day, when you least expect it, I'll get back to you. And he was like, shit. And that's how Jacob Zuma is. He's like, One day.
I hate those because you're
One
always on
day.
your toes. You never know, and people always try anticipate when you're gonna strike. So they
Mhm.
always like,
Yeah.
and then it's like, oh, you
You
didn't.
have to live in fear. And I think that's like he's playing the long game, this man.
Sure.
I mean, I thought he probably doesn't have too long to live himself, but man, is he enjoying his last...
He
Hey,
will
man.
live much longer than Mugabe.
You think?
Yeah.
He'll be like into his hundreds.
Guys like that have a hunger for life.
He likes being alive.
He likes being alive because he likes.
It's such a beautiful game for
Look
him.
how easy for it is to control these pawns that he has in his life.
Ah,
Problem is, EFF have 9%, says Patrick. Malema may just rejoin the ANC and give his votes. They then have 198 out of 400 seats. Pay off a trashy party and collapse the GNU. Watch this space.
but I don't see that happening.
I think he's so...
Desperate man, sure.
I think he's so devastated. He's got such loser complex at the moment that he's not even thinking strategically. Like you
Okay.
can tell, look how quiet the guy is. He's not saying anything.
And when he did speak, you could just tell he was heartbroken. Eh?
I just
That
get
speech
back-
that
It's
he gave.
betrayal.
Yeah, like he was just like the people that have left, they can never come back. You could tell he was so
Yeah.
heartbroken, and he was just like, you know,
Yonder's right, though. The
Right.
EFF is being haunted by the old ladies' money they stole, those gogos in Limpopo. They can cook some mean muti.
and so they should.
Yeah, but the problem is, I don't think it was so much Julius as it was Floyd and his brother.
Yeah.
And yet they seem to be fine, you know? And Zuma's philosophy, according to Tracy, you're as old as the one you're feeling. That guy. Sure. We tried to send Flex off with a December bonus, but it had nothing to do with money. It was to try and find a... He reckons that a lot of the girls who had nice holidays and spent all their money are going to be coming back to Joburg, and he'll be able to take them out for a cheap meal, and they'll basically they'll go home with him.
Streetwise too, huh?
Streetwise too.
It's good
So that's
thinking, Flex.
Flex's
There's,
plan.
there's a man with an eye on the market.
Right. He knows what's going on. That's exactly right. Snaya says, also, guys, don't get too excited. Ndlozi is still a member of the EFF. He resigned from Parliament, which I think was Julius's plan because Ndlozi was barred from going to the NPA.
yeah, but once someone already shows you that they have 1 foot in, 1 foot out, just know that it's
And
a
he's been-
ticking time bomb.
As I understand it, he's been playing that game where he's been...
Even his tweets
Yeah.
recently and liking certain people's posts, it's giving you a, you never know, eh? I might also just join the MK. That's what it's giving.
I don't get any of this. What do these people do? What have they done? What do they represent? Like
That's politicians all over the world. I just told you about
Just-
California.
yeah.
Same thing.
Well, he was
Ah,
deemed
shame.
like people's bae. So a lot of people liked him when he went
what?
out and did interviews. I don't know, like a lot of South African women are attracted to him.
So
They
is-
think he's very handsome.
So is Maps Papanyani. Get behind him.
No, he's like typical handsome. This is like untypical. Like he's like the average Joe guy that everyone's
Chicks
like,
chase bullshit, huh? Fuck.
oh, I love him so much, and he's smart, and he's a doctor. Oh my gosh!
Well, you saw all
EFF.
those women who were interested in that guy who shot the Universal Healthcare CEO.
Well, he
in
looked
New
like he
York.
had some
Luigi.
conviction about him at least. Let's give him some.
Well, I saw these women getting excited, and there's a huge bunch of them on the internet who are like massively interested in this girl. I mean, in this guy who shot another human in cold blood
Menendez brothers all over again.
on a New York street. Why? This is a very
And they're
peculiar
justifying
thing, right?
it, hey?
I mean, I know that there are probably some guys who are into like female cons, right? I'm sure there are. But there's a funny thing that happens with certain women and very bad boys. You know, the bad boy thing? Well, it's real because you look at these criminals, and if they even look just slightly good, like they've got decent facial proportions maybe, and maybe they bothered to shave sometime in the last 3 years. Maybe they don't smell like fucking raw onions, but women are all over the world. There are women who are like, "Whoa, that's the hottest guy." Why? What is that?
Well,
Can
look
you
at-
explain it to me, maybe?
Look at who watches true crime and all those things.
Women.
They love that shit.
Okay, well, the true
Sorry,
crime.
only women. You speak. Not us.
Yeah, the true crime is all about safety. Okay, it's a very dangerous world that we live in, and if I can protect myself, I will. So I'll watch shows that show me what happened to another lady. I think that's the most, like, number one reason why a lot of women watch true crime. With this bruv, I don't know what the story is. He's not that attractive, but I think they're going crazy over the fact that he did something so brave. You know, he took somebody out from healthcare and the insurance things, and in America, it's just a mess. It's a whole scam. And they were like, yes, someone who's fighting for us. He's the Robin Hood. And yeah, and he gets like treated so well in not hospital, in prison. I mean, he had the tapered cuts when he was being transferred, and people are like, everyone respects him. Even the prisoners are showing they like, we respect you and we're gonna take care of you. Nothing's gonna happen to you. So I don't know. Like, I think he did something where a lot of people have been tired of. Like, we're tired of getting ripped off by health insurance. Yay.
So you support the guy who murders.
Yeah,
someone in the street.
I feel like they've even forgotten that he's committed a crime.
They have.
Like they're just like, oh my
they
gosh,
blocked
he's
it out completely.
So
So there's an
handsome.
interesting thread on X about what they call dark female psychology. Do you want to hear this?
Yes, please.
Okay, so first of all, again, this does not apply. There's the guy. Just pop that back up there. That's the dude who, there he is. I know, he looks like a Jonas brother.
Yeah.
He's the Jonas brother that couldn't count to 4. Yeah.
By the way, this guy actually, he comes from a very wealthy family.
And he was doing well.
He spent most of his time in the last couple of years on semi-vacation. Apparently had some mental health issues, but these days everyone claims
Oh, it's a standard bit of anxiety for rich people, yeah.
All right, so here are a couple of things on this thread. Number one, and again, I have to say this because otherwise people will think that we are being general. This is a dark female psychology thread. Okay. I don't want, if you're a woman watching this or listening to us now, don't immediately do what most women will do. That's not me. It's interesting whether it's you or just for a minute, don't think that it.
There's a nice word we used to use back in the day, generalization.
Yeah. This is actually useful and interesting information. Not everything's about you. Okay. So here we are. 1, give her a perfect relationship. She'll leave you for an unpredictable man. Perfection,
that happens a lot.
Perfection is boring for some people. Everyone knows what's going to happen next, and therefore they lose interest. Mysteries are intriguing. You have to be a little unpredictable. So this is advice for guys, actually. Number 2, women can be childish and delicate. They make decisions based on situations rather than the big picture, like I just explained. So they need some supervision. Especially when things get really fucking rough.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't think anyone's going to disagree with that. Number 3, if there are no consequences to harming yourself, everyone will use and abuse you. So this is, again, advice to guys who are simping. If you're afraid of being hurt, then you will be hurt. I got bad news for you. It's the fear of harming you rather than the consequences of doing so that keeps some people loyal. Not everybody, but some. Here's an interesting thing. Be able to walk away. Once she understands that you can't walk away, that you can't live without her, she will take advantage of your vulnerability to satisfy her innate curiosity.
There's so many songs in the 90s with guys going, I can't live without you.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you just fucked yourself.
It's like, yeah, that's like you've let the house win.
So many choruses of love songs. Those words are uttered. And then guys go, that's what I'm going to tell girls.
Yeah, correct. She will take advantage of your weakness to satisfy her innate curiosity. If you walk away, then they say she will come after you. You reckon that's true?
Yeah.
Number 5, don't put her on a pedestal. Women despise that sort of thing. They never are looking for someone to love them. They're constantly looking for someone they can love.
Interesting.
Okay, that could be a very, very controversial statement. All you have to do is reciprocate. This is, again, advice to guys. Don't offer her anything for no reason, not even love. When she does something and expects something, you're the only one who can give it to her. What they can get for free, they take for granted. I think this goes both ways.
Yeah, I mean, some of this stuff does go both ways, of course.
Keep brainwashing her with your beliefs. She needs someone's perspective and advice. If you don't give it to her, she'll look for someone else. I don't know if I like the idea of anyone being brainwashed. But I think that's where this is starting to lose.
I think that point has just been worded badly.
Here's a
What
good
do you
one.
think they're trying to say?
Make your sex life an adventure. If you do it regularly, it gets boring. Change your sex life and spice it up. Location, position, drama, make things more seductive. Nobody likes frequency. They like intensity.
Exactly. Sorry, Cliff, just to go back to the brainwashing thing, there's some people, what they should have said is that women do like to be led. They like to be led with like productive things. They don't want to sit back and go, oh, fuck, I'm making a decision on this again. They want you to be passionate about stuff so that they can go, okay, well, seeing as you know everything about this, I can trust you.
Prove this. I can prove this the simplest way by explaining a scenario that every couple, would-be, wannabe couple has ever been in.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go out for dinner. Where should we go for dinner? I don't know. You decide.
That's exactly it, Cliff. That's exactly it.
That's how it goes.
So they like to be led. So you can also lead them with like leisure pursuits, extramural activities.
Ben, today we're going to take up some leisure pursuits.
Exactly it.
Oh, look, here's a woman.
She has no idea what to pursue. Where will she use her leisure?
Here's a woman. Perhaps if she wore her barber coat, we could take her out hunting and fishing. But unfortunately, that's not available because she's wearing stockings.
Nothing but the facts in the show.
Look at this lady. If only she were doing embroidery as a leisure pursuit, she'd be far more reasonable.
But her mother got onto the pursuit of embroidery.
Yeah, well. I think this is a very good point, too. Have money if you're a guy. I'm
great
afraid,
one.
like, if you're a guy and you don't, no one can eat love. I hate to break it to you.
It's hard to
And
serve
love can't
on
pay the bills. Again, songs from the 90s, you know. All these songs about, like, love will be our sustenance. No, it won't.
Best things in life are free.
Yeah, the best
Fuck
things.
off.
I love you so much, I'd give up everything
Can I
without
just quote
anything.
Destiny's Child? Can you pay my bills? Can you pay my telephone bills? Can you pay my automobiles?
I don't think you do.
So you and me are through.
Do.
Just say.
All right, so without money, daily life becomes a burden, and she will have to look out for other ways to satisfy her passion. Women love glamour, don't get me wrong, but they will not hang around a pole guy just because they love him.
And the thing is, like,
Why should they?
Women, I was having this chat with Dr. Witt the other day. Women, there's a certain phrase for it. Women go, oh, I just want a guy to be intelligent. I'm so attracted to that. No, you're not. You're attracted to like the money and the success and all the other things that come from being smart and accomplished. Accomplished and rich beats smart any day.
Sure.
Because smart has to be measured for it to like go to fruition. You're basically a caterpillar before the butterfly.
Stephen
thing.
Hawking was smart.
He had cash. So he was also wheelchaired.
And on Epstein's Island.
Being smart with all the skills.
This is interesting too. As a guy, you shouldn't argue with your woman.
Also a great point.
You should not do that. You should not like get into ad hominem attacks, divulging secrets. Don't do any of that. Just say what you're going to do and do what you say.
Yeah.
And make decisions, earn money, have children.
That's true.
She can do her thing, you can do your thing. Don't tolerate her toxic friends, it says, but also let people have different opinions to you. You don't have to argue about stuff, especially in a relationship. Don't, like, the last thing you want is some like strident Hillary Clinton type wife who's going to be telling you what she thinks the whole time. The best thing to do is do what Bill does. Okay, honey, I'll go fucking intern.
Yeah, but he does that so he can fuck interns. He's a bad example. I've got a friend. I'm not going to name him, but he doesn't.
Please don't name him. He'll come after us.
He doesn't argue with his wife, and he one by one has shown her toxic friends and told her that these people need to be out of your life. And of course, she'll be like, "You can't tell me that." Blah blah blah. In the early days, perhaps, but now one by one, none of those people are in her life, and he doesn't have to argue about this. He just.
I have a friend. He told his then girlfriend, now wife, that if she wanted to see her friends, she could do that whenever she wanted, but he's not coming. He's like, I don't like your friends. They're horrible people. I don't find them interesting. They're cackling the whole time. They talk shit about each other.
In the moment, there'll be a hard thing to hear. In 10 years' time, when none of those people are your friends anymore because they're toxic.
Again, they've been together for, I think they've been married for like 10 years by now.
Sure.
And none of those friends that she had at the time that she said this or he said this and upset her, none of them are around anymore.
Wow.
So maybe he was right. Maybe she just decided to get rid of them herself. Maybe people change. That also happens, If you're still friends with your best friend from when you were 5, you better hope that you've both advanced and developed and progressed and changed.
Absolutely.
Because if you're still the same friends you were at 5 for the same reasons, there's something very wrong.
Yeah.
Nobody
but I think
wants that.
one thing that does take place in a lot of relationships is you spend less time with your friends when you're single, and before you know it, it's been 2-3 years, and the only person you see on the regular is your partner.
Correct.
So like you naturally lose even the healthy friendships. You're like, oh, I haven't seen my best friend in like 2 months, because of the nature of just how romantic relationships are. So I guess in those cases it helps when they're like, I don't like your friends and they're toxic, and naturally that takes place. But I mean, you can also lose some good friends just because you guys are busy.
Yeah, look, I can say from a guy's perspective, it's really important that women have close friends because you need them. Because you can't always be with someone the whole time. That's why guys have to have close friends. The biggest red flag is if a girl starts dating a guy and he only has a few acquaintances.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have,
I could tell you now, a lot of girls have an issue with the boys. The boys when you
because
hang
they think they're distracting and will take them towards Makoshas. But a guy has to have solid friends. So girls, if you meet a guy and he doesn't have like best friends, his bros that does things like golf, fishing, big problem. Because then why is that? Guys, it's so easy for guys to be friends. We have so many common grounds. There's so much you can do. If your boyfriend or suitor doesn't have close friends, he's either a psychopath or there's big mother issues, or he will murder you.
Because I'm extremely suspicious of anybody who doesn't have at least a few. You don't have to have a ton of good friends, but you have to have 3 or 4 friends who you see regularly, who you can. By the way, it's also psychologically very, very dangerous for anyone, before or after or during a relationship, to not have friends. You can't burden one person with everything.
Terrible idea.
And if you don't have friends, that's probably because you're a really horrible or boring or stupid or
you offer very
nasty person.
You offer nothing to society.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right. So be suspicious.
Today, huh?
Yeah, look at this. All right, we're going to stop all of this shit and get into some sport, because it's almost 7:00 already.
Guys, what a weekend for sport, huh?
What do we got?
Well, we've got FA Cups back. Sorry, I'm trying to get the screen.
Who was it? There was there's a sports guy who was reading the news once and said the fuck up. So whenever I hear the FA Cup now, I think of the fuck up.
Lots of teams looking to go far in the fuck up. Yeah, FA Cup's cool, especially for a team like Arsenal, who's shown they cannot win this league.
13th, huh?
Yeah.
No, Arsenal are not 13th; they're second.
That's Man United.
That's Man United.
I appreciate the enthusiasm you guys want to engage with me, but get your facts right. At least close, or at least listen half.
I try. I told you about Man United losing. At least that's okay.
Accurate. So we're back to the FA Cup, right? So it's third round. So we still got like absolute nobodies. Oaks are having pints during the week or playing like the top guys. It's that magical time in the season where it's all whimsical and stuff before it gets too hectic. But also makes this weekend's fixtures quite weird, because even though it's the third round, we've got like a really big game in Arsenal versus Man United at the Emirates. So at
second versus 13th.
But it's huge, because for both of these teams, Man United is not going to win a trophy. Obviously, they're not in the Carabao Cup. They're not in Europe. Nothing. FA Cup will be their dream. Arsenal should have much higher aims. They could maybe do something in the Champions League final. They might get there.
Whose fans are more violent?
No one's nowadays. And there's like Millwall's still pretty violent. You've got like legacy aggressive people, but most of the Premier League fans, they can't be anymore. Because there's cameras everywhere, so they're caught fighting, they can't watch the game. You get banned.
Britain is so boring. Britain has become like the Prime Minister of Britain right now. Boring. Keir Starmer.
Well, he's a horrible commie, but let's not get into him. So this weekend in the FA Cup, we've got Aston Villa versus West Ham kicks it off tonight at 10:00. And then we got some absolute, they're just fun. Liverpool versus Accrington Stanley. at 2:15.
What?
Okay.
Exactly. That sounds like a gentleman's club that after long day at mine, they go kick a ball around. That's
Sure.
what they sound like.
Okay.
After a long day in mine.
Yeah. Nottingham Forest taking on Luton at 5. Chelsea versus Morecambe.
Accrington Stanley.
Morecambe. I've completely
No,
butchered it.
Morecambe.
No, it's Morecambe.
Morecambe.
Is that Morecambe?
No, you say Morecambe.
Okay.
But Accrington Stanley is a real thing, huh?
It's a real thing.
Really?
They sound like pubs. Norwich City are taking on Brighton. Man City have got Salford City Saturday, 7:45. And then Sunday, Tamworth are taking on Tottenham. Newcastle will take on the might of Bromley. Arsenal, Man United at 5. So that's the FAR Cup for this weekend.
Yes.
It's very exciting.
I'm backing Accrington Stanley just because I want to say that more often.
I would love to back those. Oaks,
Who's
but
your favourite club football team? Well, I don't know really. I've been a Queen's Park Rangers fan myself. Oh, okay, no, I'm an Accrington Stanley fan.
I would love to see the Accrington Stanley team sheets. Just nothing but middle-class blue-collar names.
That's great.
I'll not see one Ghanaian. Or I should have actually got this up.
Can
we have like a full
James, can you find
Accrington-
the starting lineup for Accrington Stanley, please? The weirdest request on this show.
Accrington
All right, so there's obviously this big rugby. Rugby never ever stops. These Oaks don't get any sort
No.
of break. There's no chill.
There used to be a season.
These Oaks used to be able to go to Hartenbos, get stuck in for like 2 weeks, braai every night, knock up at least 3 Afrikaans girls with like prosperous futures ahead. None of that. They got to keep playing. They got to keep playing.
Gotta make money.
So this weekend, Investec Champions Cup. Now, I've got a love-hate kind of affair with this thing because none of the SA teams are going to make the final, as I keep telling you. It's just a resource game. The French Oaks don't have really salary caps. So tonight, Glasgow Warriors, they're Scottish. They'll be taking on Racing 92, who are French. That'll be at 10 o'clock tonight. Tomorrow, the Stormers are hosting the Sale Sharks from England. That'll be at 3. The Stormers have been so up and down, injury issues. I can't see them going anywhere in this tournament, but I do have a feeling they'll do pretty well in this game. Then the Sarks, they'll be taking on Toulouse, the Sharks.
Oh.
So if you speak like Verda Philander, who's lost the ability to say an H, the Sarks, Toulouse are the greatest team, I guess. Anton Dupont, he has never played. He's only played one game in the Southern Hemisphere, one senior game in the Southern Hemisphere. This will be his second one. So Sharks versus Toulouse, 5:15. That's a really, really big one. Like that's huge. Exeter will be taking the Border Bergleirs, and then we got a whole host of other really big games. Bulls are away to Castres, which is what happens to a bull at a certain age of its life.
What does that mean? I need you to
French
break
team.
this down for me.
Was
Bulls
Castres.
are what?
They're taking on Castres. They're playing in France.
So you weren't, because it does sound like they're going to have their balls cut out.
Yeah, it's quite funny because that's what happens to a bull at a certain stage. You cut his
That's why I needed an explanation.
No, that's the team.
Yeah,
They're
thank
playing
you.
against a team called Castres,
Very good.
and that'll be at 10 o'clock on Saturday. Sunday, again, just all out Investec Champions Cup. There is so much of this because it's still before the knockouts, so we're still playing preliminary rounds. But I think the most exciting thing for this weekend will be the SA20 because this is our one and only massive cricket platform, right?
Okay.
So the Eastern Cape Sunrisers.
Oh, what a
elaborate
terrible name.
Eastern Cape Sunrisers, they were the champions the last 2 seasons.
Oh,
So huge favorites going into this. Last night, absolutely obliterated by MI Cape Town.
Oh, wow.
Obliterated. It was probably like PE's finest day. Quebec, everyone's in the stadium, right? The sun is setting at a perfect rate. They've got helicopter shots showing Nelson Mandela Bay. It's so beautiful, and they get absolutely thrashed. I mean, it's
By
hard.
what Cape Town?
So Mumbai Indians, their franchise, they've
Okay.
got the Cape Town franchise. So they're called MI or My Cape Town.
Okay.
So that's
Very confusing.
the thing with like Quebec, you can never have it too good for too long. I mean, they won the
No,
last
they
2
have to be
seasons,
punished.
but so
Shucks.
humiliated on the
Yeah.
opening round.
yes.
So tonight, at 5:30 in Durban, we'll have the Durban Super Giants taking on the Pretoria Capitals. Then on Saturday, we've got the Paarl Royals versus the Sunrisers Eastern Cape. That'll be a daytime game at 1. And then the Joburg Super Kings right here in Johannesburg will be taking on My Cape Town at 5:30. And then Sunday, Pretoria Capitals versus Durban Super Giants, 3:30. SA20 is so great because you can fill out Centurion, you can take your picnic, do whatever. It's a cheapish family day out on the grass banks, get hammered. And if you catch the ball for a 6, there's that whole Betway chance of win your share of 2 million.
Oh.
So SA20 is going to be cool for this whole month. There's games on. Maybe the games in Joburg, not so much because it's always fucking raining here. But it's a really exciting tournament and time of the year. Oh, I forgot there's also the CAF Champions League this weekend. So Pirates are still very much in the mix here. They're top of their current group. They'll be taking on CR Belouizdad.
Who are those? No.
It's like the Accrington Stanley of Senegal. I don't know. They'll be taking them on Sunday at 3. Pirates are pretty much... Look, it's still early days, but like you would think they'll go quite far in this tournament. It is a good year for them. They're tussling with Sundowns domestically. It's between those two to see who will win the PSL. Speaking of Sundowns, they haven't started as well in the CAF Champions League. They'll be taking on Manima Union at 3 o'clock on Saturday.
What are these Mafias always like? I don't know these
All
teams.
these new teams. Is this a new 2025 thing that we're only hearing about them now?
CAF Champions League. You go deep into the windows of all places to take on these teams. And because sometimes the facilities are so shit, as you've always mentioned, it's difficult. You know, you got to get difficult flights to get to these places. It's quite tough on the whole travel schedule. But final thing for the weekend is it's a Ryder Cup year. So as we know, Europe taking on America. The Americans are going to be hosting it this time round, so they're going to be extra obnoxious and shitty, and ultimately they'll win on the back of that. But what Europe do is they have this thing called the Team Cup, incredibly imaginatively named because it's a team cup, as in 2 teams will take on to win a cup. It's continental Europe versus England and Ireland, basically, Great Britain and Ireland. And then from the back of this, they go, okay, well, we'll now know which to have in the Team Ryder Cup. So, I mean, it's a really cool tournament. If you are into that and you know those players and you love the team format, they'll be taking place today, Saturday, and Sunday. And that pretty much is, Gareth, your wrap-up of all the sport for the week. Excellent. If you want to know what's happening for the year in general, the On The Bounce show for this week, we went deep into that, really like blockbuster, super rammed show. Sandile and I go through all your major sports, all the major fixes that you get to enjoy this year. And you can catch that on the Real Networks YouTube channel or just catch the podcast.
Fantastic. Will you tell me, because I got a call from someone yesterday about, we should boycott Afghanistan because we're apparently going to play cricket there or something?
So the ICC Champions Trophy has the top 8 teams in the world, and we will play against Afghanistan, just like we played against Afghanistan in the T20 World Cup last year.
But now we must boycott them because what they... Why? I jokingly said, because it is ridiculous, but I said to Nina Hastie and Jack Mutlante on Wednesday that they have actually banned windows in Afghanistan because women might look out of them and turn men on.
Right.
People think I was joking. The producers still think I'm talking shit, but it's a real thing.
So they've been doing so many things that have just been so backwards for women.
Women are not allowed to learn at school anymore.
Yes.
That's been stopped completely.
It's so sad.
They must wear the burqa, obviously, and there are all sorts of horrific things that happen to you if you're a woman and you just step a little bit out of line. And some of them they disguise as like men can't control themselves or whatever. But Afghanistan is really, it's like a Neolithic, primitive, backward, uncivilized, unsophisticated place. For a little while there was a ray of hope. There was an opportunity for Afghanistan to go into the future boldly, rebuild, try to develop something other than tribal, primal, prehistoric ethos that they've basically been the same for the last 5,000 years in that part of the world, right?
There was a time when they're doing all right, but then it got taken back into those dark ages.
But how is this the cricketers' problem?
Okay, so this is a very deep conversation I'd love to have with you, but it is 7 o'clock. Are you going to cut?
No, we can come back to it after.
Okay.
People aren't going away. We're not going away. We can come back.
No, I know, but I know there's like a break. So I don't get into a whole rant and suddenly it's like,
all right, well, save it for after the break.
Yes.
After the break.
I would love to get into this. I really would.
After the break, a rant with Ben. It's very exciting.
About Afghanistan.
We didn't plan this, but we're going to have a whole discussion of Afghanistan. I'd like to have your comments and your ideas and your thoughts in here as well. Simphiwe and I are going to hear all about why Afghanistan should or shouldn't be boycotted.
I haven't prepared anything, so this is going to come thick and fast.
Oh, you have 3 minutes to think of something.
It's going to come up hot takes and all kinds of shit.
It's Friday morning. Don't go anywhere.
they need to be properly vetted as Nigerians. Not because all Nigerians are bad, but unfortunately, there seems to be a lot of elements of bad behavior within the Nigerian diaspora.
The
and we're not
419
talking about Chichi.
We're talking about the 419 rules.
You check now.
Yeah,
and the hush puppies. We do have a significant problem in Sunnyside, Cape Town, Point, Durban, CBD, Hillbrow, Yeovil, and most recently, every hotel in Sandton. Let me tell you something, girls. If a man tells you he lives at Itin Tonton Hotel in Sandton, he's taking you there, don't go.
Some guys said the laws here.
Yeah.
Very relaxed.
In their countries, you steal something, the hand that steals gets chopped.
Listen, we have a constitution here, brother. You and your other MK members need to calm down. I'm joking. Kwaza mkonto kwaza.
Are you leading towards Kendrick being a cloud chasing rapper?
Kendrick is leaning into cloud chasing for where it can benefit him. I'm not saying he's a cloud chasing rapper. It would be unfair to call him a cloud chasing rapper. But cloud chasing is a new feature that Kendrick has recently unlocked, in that he's playing to the crowd, where the crowd is expecting him to say something about someone. Look how many new fans Kendrick got because of Not Like Us. These are people who hadn't listened to Kendrick before. They're not fans of Kendrick. They're not diehard fans. But now, because of Not Like Us, they're like, yo, he finished Drake. Yo, whatever. Are you saying that now he's not what he's doing?
No, I don't see that. First of all, he randomly dropped an album.
Then you can, I think it's balls.
I think you are balls. I think you are balls.
Friday morning, Gareth Cliff Show on the Real Network. Good morning. I hope your 2025 is off to an excellent start. Right out of the starting blocks, we have hit the road running with all of the other horrible little payoff lines that people are using at this time of year. Have you noticed? Oh, yeah. You say to someone, how's it going? No, good. Are you back at work? Yeah, really hit the road running, eh? Like you're in accounting.
Are people still saying Happy New Year to you?
No.
See, I have Larry David opinions on this. Like there's
a cutoff.
There's an expiry.
Yes.
In law, they say something prescribes after a certain amount of time, right? So if you're still saying Happy New Year to people after the 10th,
I think after the 7th, get a weekend.
You reckon? It's just 7 days.
After the 7th,
Yes.
that's it.
I'm willing to. Today's the 10th, so I'm willing to. Today's the moratorium.
We
No more
figuring.
Happy New Year. You know, even if it's someone you haven't seen since last year, that's their fault. They haven't been around for the Happy New Year. They don't get it.
Yeah.
You know?
I just think I hope the year started well for you. Not Happy New Year. How was the festive season?
Yeah, it's enough. 10 days is a long time.
act
It's a
like
very
you
long
care.
time. Guys, I
Just
reckon
say
7.
hi.
Can we make it 7?
Finish and klar. Like, why are we talking
7.
about what did you get up to for Christmas? No, I don't want to tell you anymore. Like, I'm good. I'm great. Like,
Especially those of us who've been back at work for a week.
yes.
You get back next week, Monday, and you're all like, oh, Happy New Year. What did you get for Christmas?
Oh, it's like been 3 weeks, bro. Relax. I'm
Yeah.
worried about January and making it through the month. Okay, please. Please.
All right. Well, you know what to not say to the three of us. Okay. The grumpiest fucking people in the whole world
Not
this
grumpy,
morning.
It's just like Gareth, we've hit the ground running, okay?
We've hit the road running. Yeah.
Yo.
What was the other thing someone said to me the other day? It's like, oh, yeah, no, we've already shifted it to 5th gear. I'm like,
Oh,
what are you
I
talking
guess
about?
I
You're replying to emails. I know what you do for a living. You're doing fucking nothing. You've sat in 3 meetings and you replied to the emails that you left from December that you hadn't got around to.
You're circling back to the circle
Yeah,
back.
yeah, so yeah, it's busy, eh? Yo, hey, fuck, it's busy, eh? Oaks, I can't believe the year started already.
Oh, shut up,
do me
kind
a favor.
regards.
Yeah.
Just shut up.
Right, exactly. Okay, so before we get to our guests for the morning, 3 important things we need
You
to
have
do.
guests as in plural.
Now we got a guest,
Oh,
a
all sorts of
magician.
people.
We got a magician coming in.
Wow.
No, so Afghanistan.
Yes.
You're going to explain Blake Lively's court case with me.
Yes.
I also need to understand Accrington Stanley a little better before
this
you leave,
team.
Ben.
Let's get straight
Okay,
into
so
it.
this is very important. We're here to learn, everybody. This is how we
Let's go.
improve.
So Accrington Stanley are taking on Liverpool this weekend.
Yes.
So, in football, all those guys make so much money. That's why you get like people who are slow adults with really attractive women a lot of the time. And they have the flashy cars and like it all
Wayne
falls down.
Rooney.
So those guys get paid millions every single week. Accrington Stanley, the entire team, guess what the entire team is worth?
Tell me.
3.2 billion pounds.
That's a lot
the
of money.
entire team.
That's a lot of money, though.
The
No,
whole-
for
no.
football. No.
Oh, come on.
Peanuts.
Gareth,
It's
they're
peanuts.
playing against Liverpool, right? There'll be a guy with like one guy who'll make that in a week.
3.2 million pounds.
It's like the entire team. So I said it'd be like quite a working class team.
Yeah.
How cool are some of these names? Billy Crellin, Michael Kelly, Liam Isherwood, Aaron Pickles,
Ooh,
Josh Smith, Charlie Brown, Liam Coyle.
who's D-Lab?
Hey, there's a
Now-
Kumbeni.
I know, but okay, so this is where it gets a little bit more exotic. They have, I think, 2 guys from Nigeria. They've got a guy from Singapore,
Okay,
Yo.
Sonny Eljafree. Is he in the mix?
He's not on the starting lineup.
Well, anyway,
okay.
Accrington Stanley, more cosmopolitan than I thought.
Okay.
But yes, let's talk about Afghanistan.
Sure.
All right. So Accrington Stanley, we've learned something we didn't know.
3.2 million pounds in their entire squad. That's just what those oaks, the Liverpool guys, will spend on cocaine probably this weekend after the game.
Yeah.
It's economies of
Tough.
scale, call it what you want. It's going to be a classic. This is what makes the FA Cup so beautiful.
Okay, I'm sold. I've now got a new team to support,
Accrington
even if it's
Stanley.
nominally.
They won't get
just
past
if
the third
people ask
round.
me.
Third round's like their pinnacle. Like that's the Everest.
Okay, Afghanistan. Speaking of like your Everest, I mean, they're a pretty good cricketing nation. They're not horrific.
No, they're pretty good.
So we know that the country itself is an absolute clusterfuck. We know that basically Afghanistan, you can tell someone's rich in Afghanistan because their house is made of newer rubble than someone whose house is made of older rubble.
Or they've got an American house that Biden gave them.
Yeah, you have to chew rocks for nutrition, cover up your women. I mean, I'm for this segment, while you start introducing Afghanistan to us, I'm just going to grab something, just cover Simphiwe, because I don't want Afghanistan to block
To have to
this.
see her.
No, I don't want Afghanistan to have to block this conversation we're about to have about Afghanistan. All
Because
right,
there's a woman.
go
So
ahead.
So yesterday, I think it was Gaten McKenzie's department put together this long-winded sort of ex-post about how there's been calls to boycott the matches between the Proteas and Afghanistan and the ICC Champions Trophy. So this is like a very politic kind of thing to do because we've already played them and there wasn't the uproar. So why now is it now a thing? Sorry. Okay. You should have done this earlier, James. You're the worst producer ever.
Okay, there's no.
Can't have an uncovered woman in the studio while I talk about Afghanistan.
There, now Simphiwe looks like she belongs in Afghanistan. You can't see her at all. Simphiwe, stick your hand out so we know you're there.
that's
Okay,
great.
that's
For
better.
too long.
No, it's perfect. All right.
So in
How's
sport,
Afghanistan, huh?
So
Freedom.
in a sporting sense, you get banned and boycotted for all kinds of things, and I get it. But Afghanistan's been given a free pass.
Okay.
All the things you just spoke about in the first hour are horrific, right?
Yeah, sure.
So whether it's a race, sex, whatever thing, they're being so marginalized in that country. Every other team who plays under the ICC, which isn't the International Criminal Court, it's the International Cricket Council, they have to promote women's cricket. We have the Women's World Cups. We have all these things. They won't even send women to school. So how are they allowed to now be part of this if they won't even do that? So these oaks get a free pass. And I tell you what it comes down to, because those oaks are all the same. They want Afghanistan to be part of these tournaments because it looks cool for diversity, right? Just like Bangladesh, who no one gives a shit about. Those oaks were thrown into the mix. They offer nothing. I mean, the most famous thing about Bangladesh is all those train memes where there's like 1 million people on them.
Yes.
They don't really do much in cricket, okay? And people don't really want to go tour there. Pakistan only now are going to be hosting cricket again. So they need someone like Afghanistan. Is so cool. Like it's a Cinderella story. But it's not, though, because the country's shit. So when South Africa was going through apartheid, everyone was just piling on them, right? It's all wrong. This is horrible. It's an injustice. And those guys couldn't play. They couldn't go anywhere. So why do these guys get to play? I think it's a massive double standard. It's absolute bullshit. But if the ICC don't have the backbone to do this, then we must go in and we must be shitty to them. Play cricket against them, beat them, and like just sledge the fuck out of them.
Yeah. I would do that.
Because it always goes back.
I don't think none of the wives and girlfriends will go with on this trip, will they?
Take the wives and girlfriends, get them to dress extra slutty, whatever it is.
You want people to be
Fuck you,
killed?
Afghanistan. We've got
Do
lives.
you want people to be killed? No.
No, but literally, it's like, as soon as your husband hits a 6, you go, fuck you. Make it like that.
Do that at your own risk. You don't love your life.
These guys have got no leverage over us, okay? There's such bullshit. Like, teams get boycotted all the time, and then they get tossed out.
Yeah.
Because they want the diversity card over and over again.
Ugh.
They have no place in world cricket if they're going to be like this. They treat women terribly. It is such hypocrisy where we go, Protea fire, women, all this kind of stuff. But yes, we're taking on Afghanistan. Like, don't play this.
Yeah, we have that pink ball series, especially over this shit, don't we?
Okay, so like another example, SA20. Rashid Khan is from Afghanistan. He's the captain of the MI Indian of Cape Town.
Okay.
Cape Town team.
Okay.
So now if we are so hell-bent on having these morals towards these things and women's rights, how is your captain from Afghanistan?
At least be consistent.
Be consistent.
Right.
We're either going to do nothing or we must do everything. All this fence sitting is absolute bullshit. Like this oak, everything he stands for is against what we stand for women's rights and equality. But yet he's the captain of the team. He's making more money than Accrington Stanley this entire week. It's horseshit, okay? This hypocrisy and all this stuff has got to stop.
Well, I think that's the best explanation I've heard.
Sorry, I didn't prepare anything for that, but maybe I'll craft something for next week.
You know, I think you're right. It's like just every fuck you, Afghanistan. It's like really
that would be my stance. That's my official stance.
I think the men should do that, not the women, if they go and play. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think it would be dangerous for women to
Yes.
do anything in Afghanistan.
They're not going to Afghanistan, but go watch the game and do that in a stadium in a civilized area.
But not in Afghanistan.
No, of course not.
Oh.
Okay. When you're playing them, though, if they come here and play, then do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like that. Like whip them out.
Yeah. Gareth, you always got to take that extra step.
I think so. I mean, if I were a woman in South Africa and Afghanistan were playing and I was sitting on the grass at Centurion and I knew that there were people, Taliban back in Afghanistan watching on TV.
Women should be
I would
free.
whip them out, man.
Free for women.
I would.
You get like 6
I'm not saying you have to, but I would.
Just come and watch cricket because you're allowed to. As
Yeah.
a show of defiance. I mean,
Okay.
I don't think anyone should be banned. I think it's petty. I think people who are shit in life should be given the exposure because then we realize how shit they are, and then natural order takes place.
Yeah, we should show their stupidity.
Show them up.
Exactly. I'm with you. All right, that's very good. Just one other thing we need to squeeze in here. You need to explain this. I don't know anything about Blake Lively's lawsuit. What is this? All I know is she is married to Ryan Reynolds now. And they're very funny, and they're very funny on like social media. That's all. I don't know anything else about this.
Okay, I'm gonna try keep this short, because there's a lot going on. There was a movie. It's titled "It Ends with Us." Blake Lively is in that movie. She's the main or lead actress, and it's produced produced, and also the lead male actor is Justin Baldoni.
Mhm.
And the movie itself is about domestic violence and sexual abuse.
It's
And
Afghanistan.
basically, you
Right.
know what I mean?
Very trendy, this Afghanistan, huh?
Cool. When it was time to promote the movie, we noticed that the cast, along with Blake Lively, were on their own, doing their own things, saying, come dressed in florals and come with your girlfriends and watch this movie, and kind of promoted it like a love rom-com movie. And people were like, man, you tone deaf, you know. And she was also promoting her alcohol and her hair and like hairline, and she was just like, people were like, man, yeah, you're just tone deaf. Whereas Justin Baldoni, he was like, okay, this movie centers around domestic violence, sharing stories of victims and stuff like that. So that's where it kind of started. Then Jiggy homegirl hits him with a complaint on there was sexual abuse and sexual harassment in the workplace. And yeah, like I think it was the New York Times or the Washington Post, they wrote the article. And now he's come out with a $250 million lawsuit on some that is lies. Because
Slander.
yes, there were screenshots of conversations where basically Blake was like, here it is. He was like, you know, he walked into my changing room when I was pumping and stuff. And then he was like,
what?
Well,
pumping. 'Cause
to
she
feed
just-
the like Simphiwe had to do. He's
Yo,
the baby.
Sorry, I had to.
Not like
See,
pumping.
no,
It's
like-
different.
While I was
Oh,
pumping, that's my right.
Gotta explain this. Ben doesn't. He
She
hasn't
just
been
gave
around anyone
birth,
pumping
and she's
for a
still
while.
breastfeeding her babies.
Sorry,
so
Simphiwe. I
Listen.
very tone deaf of me.
when she's on set, to ensure that she still has milk for the kids, she has to pump
Yeah.
the milk out.
Gotcha.
Yes. So she was claiming that he would walk into her dressing room unannounced when she was doing that. And obviously she was a bit, and she was a bit exposed. And there's text messages basically where she's like, hey, I'm currently pumping. We can go over our lines. So it makes sense why he would walk in, you know, and he was like, cool, see you in 15 minutes.
So
or
she was
something.
pump trapping him.
You get what I mean? So there's so many messages that she has shared where like it's out of context, but when you read it,
I'm sort of falling asleep. Okay, Blake Lively and this dude are in a movie together.
yes,
The movie has something to do with domestic violence and abuse.
yes,
So they're already in that universe. Then they try to virtue signal each other the whole way through it and try to curry favor with the audience. Well, he does.
yes,
She is trying to sell shit.
yeah. She was just like downplaying how serious
she's
it is.
like, yeah, because
Sure,
she doesn't care. And then she are now embroiled in a lawsuit. She claims he was making inappropriate advances or coming in while she had her tits out.
Yes,
And now he's saying, no, you said I could come in when you had your tits out.
yes. And the whole reason, and
Why is this anyone else's problem?
Because people are
spoiled Hollywood
Why
celebrities.
does he want 250 million?
Because the whole reason, and this is what
No
a
one's
lot of
worth that
people are
much.
claiming, is that this is more of a PR lawsuit. Because when she was promoting the movie, people are like, actually, because Blake is so tone deaf, other clips of her were coming out of when she was being mean to people. And she got married on a plantation, and people are like, yeah, Valley, we don't like you anymore. So her reputation, and she's a Nepo baby. So people were like finding videos of her saying, oh, when she was in high school, she got into the musical play or something like that because her dad got her
Also,
in.
he could really do with the money. Before this, he was Rafael Solano on the CW telenovela Jane the Virgin.
But he did a great job. I watched that.
So
Jane the
that's his
Virgin.
previous. That's
Yes,
his previous experience. He's done nothing. This is his first big movie.
Basically, Justin is saying that no, she was a bully throughout this entire thing. There was no sexual harassment or whatsoever, and she's basically using that as a Me Too movement. And he's like, that's not what took place.
Ugh.
And people are like, yeah, so it's a big thing. Everyone's talking about it. No one in the cast has said anything, but there's like lawsuits happening left, right, and center. His lawyer is doing interviews on we're going to sue her into oblivion, and this is good.
Wow, there is more chance of me playing cricket for Afghanistan than watching this movie.
It's a mediocre movie, I can tell you now.
Of course it is. Sounds like almost this is the kind of thing that Hollywood would make up in PR.
Yes.
That they'd create a fight just so that anyone would go and
but
see the stupid
I also
movie.
kind of feel sorry for Blake Lively. Her husband's so perfect. He's so funny and so successful, and she tries to do other stuff as well.
Yeah, she's
and everyone gives
a
her shit.
mid-actress.
No, but the thing is, like she is judged so harshly because of Ryan Reynolds and how amazing he is. She really is. So whatever she does, it'll be like, I mean, she in her own rights is
She's a
whatever she
nipple
is.
baby. She's taken care of. She's great. Okay.
Also great, but I mean, she will be judged to shit, and this is a prime example of that. People are piling on heavily.
This is how far feminism can take it. Okay, all I'm saying.
Well, to come full circle
Quite the
from how we
contrast in the Afghanistan story. Huh?
to come full circle from how we started the show earlier, she posted something for the first time since this whole Baldoni lawsuit about the LA wildfires. And she said to everyone affected by the fires, then she puts all this stuff out about a document with countless resources updated throughout the day for people in LA to use. So she's obviously trying to help. I don't care who wins this thing. Justin Baldoni, I never heard of this guy before. And Blake Lively, I always have to think, like, which one is she? And then I remember she's married to Ryan Reynolds, and
Yes.
that does get her a free pass, I suppose, with me.
So she was in.
Those are the two of them, huh?
Yes.
That's
So
them.
what was the big TV show she was in?
Gossip Girl, I think.
That's it.
And the entire cast unfollowed her, blocked her. They were like, she was mean on set, horrible to work with,
Like Ellen.
a diva, basically. Yeah, with just
Well,
some,
Simphiwe,
some talent.
I took from the tone of your voice right from the start, you were not on her side.
No, I'm not. I can tell you now, I am not.
I'm going to just take Simphiwe as my proxy opinion on this. I'm not on her side
Yeah,
either.
I've
then.
seen enough clips of her as a person. I think a few years ago she was doing another media tour. And obviously you get interviewed by various people, and she was pregnant at the time, mind you, and had announced that she's pregnant. And the lady was like, "Congratulations on the bump," and she was just a mean girl and was like, "Congratulations on your bump." Why?
So
Why
she's
would you do
horrible.
that? She's a horrible chick. She's mean.
Which celebrities have lost their houses? Anna Faris,
Oh, shit.
Melissa Rivers, that's Joan Rivers' daughter, Nepo baby. Paris Hilton. Paris Hilton's lost her house.
Oh.
You should feel ashamed of yourself for immediately laughing. Cameron Matheson, I'm not sure who that is. Billy Crystal, the comedian, he's been living there 40 years with his wife. Their whole house is burnt down. That's horrible, hey?
Sad.
Paris Hilton detailed how she and her husband, who between them share a son, Phoenix, who's 23 months old, and the daughter, London, who's 14 months old, learned that their house had burned through a live news broadcast. She noted it is something that no one should ever have to experience. That's horrible. But, you know, she was probably in one of her other houses.
Yeah, I was gonna say no one was living there then.
Ooh, Matthew Perry's house is in danger of burning down.
Oh, no.
But he's already dead. So
Yeah.
No.
Who else is in the house now? Is it just Matthew Perry's house?
it's there. It's just waiting for, I don't know, one
That
of the
was
other
his
friends
legacy.
to buy it or something.
No, you
But
don't.
yeah, I mean, ugh,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
All right, guys.
Okay,
I feel like this
now
is
you
my
know.
time to go.
All right, Ben, here. Let me throw this at you. Then we'll just use the Harry Potter invisibility cloak. No, put it over you and then just
Yes,
walk out
and
of
just
here.
walk.
Afghanistan myself.
Okay.
There he goes.
Can you even see where you're going?
No, you can't. No, he's going to trip and break something. All right, there we go. That's Ben. Have a happy Friday, Ben, and thanks for all the sport. We've got more to talk about, but I want to kind of bring in a magician. There's nothing like
Okay.
that to start the year.
Oh, okay.
And his name is Vian van der Berg. He is the biggest. He's not just he's the biggest magician on Facebook,
Oh.
on Instagram, on TikTok, and on YouTube in the Southern Hemisphere, Simphiwe.
Oh, he's a big deal.
He is.
Okay.
All right. And he has 9.5 million followers.
Excuse us.
So I know you as a TikTok star.
You know, I must also start coming here with demands and just saying
yeah, I
that I
think-
want my Skittles
Well,
separated.
he didn't make any
No.
demands. He didn't make any demands at all. But he's one of the most followed magicians in the world. And he's here to talk this morning to us about some of that. So welcome, Vian. Nice to see you.
so much. I didn't even know most of those stats.
Dude,
No, I'm
that's
kidding.
you mean you had no idea?
No, I know. I mean, I repeat them to my girlfriend every day. So
Yes, that's
just
what
so
keeps
she
her.
knows I'm still
That's
worth
what
it.
keeps
You
her
know.
around. Otherwise, she would have left you for a guy who had like 12 million. But you
Yeah,
can't
exactly.
find him yet.
That happens a lot.
Listen, how did you get into this?
So, gee, funny story. Like, I'm actually from a very small town, so
Which
not
one?
a lot. Frankfurt in the Free State.
Oh,
So, what else was I supposed to do?
nothing
right?
happens there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just saw some magicians on TV and on talk shows, and I was like, okay, let me search some videos on how to do these card tricks and stuff. I was 15 at the time, and so I just
So self-taught.
Yeah, pretty much. But I was just taking like inspo from everyone who I look at. And then I took the tricks to school. Suddenly everyone stands like a group around me and I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to do now. This is my way of being cool.
I think it is so cool to be able to do something like that when you're young and at school, because it impresses the hell out of everyone else.
Yeah.
They're like, people you don't even know will say, oh, you got to meet my friend. And you're like, I'm your friend. My friend, Vian, you must see what he can do. And then it makes people laugh. It makes them go, oh, they shit themselves. They're not sure how it happens. They want you to teach them how. Suddenly you're the center of attention, and you're just doing something that for you is a skill that you picked up.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it's I always say it's like my language because it's an instant icebreaker.
Yeah.
So wherever you go, someone's like, hey, I heard you do tricks. Now suddenly the whole conversation just starts.
So you mentioned inspiration, and I suppose there are those very famous magicians that we all know that have been big names for years. But who are the guys that you pay attention to?
Yeah, look, I think the big ones are obviously the ones to look at because I think you want to achieve like that top level. But yeah, exactly like you said, I don't think those are the ones that when you're actually into the whole like thing of it, like I don't think those are the people you necessarily look at. So for me, obviously, David Blaine, Dynamo, those guys, they were paving the way. But I think for me, it was more like names that people won't really know. I don't know if you know a guy by the name of Justin Flom. He now makes like very cringy Facebook videos. But I mean, he's mastered it. He's
what are these cringy Facebook?
So
why are they cringy?
Because he used to be like full on into magic. So that was all he did. And to me, he was the best in the world. Like I actually got to meet him.
So why did he stop that?
I think he realized like there's a lot more money in content. So he's doing his video. I say cringy, but they're actually like really nice.
So he's turned magic into money. That's all. That's a magic trick.
There you go. But I mean, yeah. So those are the guys I looked up to for like inspiration on magic tricks and how to think about it. I would say Justin Flom's a big one. There's another guy called Sean Farquhar who was like the world champion of card magic. So I got like real nerdy
Lord
about
Farquhar.
it. Yeah,
That's an interesting name.
But so yeah, I mean, I got into the specifics of it, but I noticed as well, like if you're not going to put out content, if you're not going to get yourself to a position where you're relatable with everyone else, where David Blaine is, where Dynamo is, then you're not really going to make it. You're just going to sit in front of a mirror doing card tricks the whole day. So I kind of distanced myself from that and just also like fully jumped into the content with the magic.
Sure, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, all these millions of followers that you have, it's because they like the stuff that you're doing. So that's great.
I guess so.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. But it starts with the card tricks, and then before you know it, you're trying to like unpadlock yourself underwater in a tank. You're not going to do that to your poor girlfriend, are you?
No.
She doesn't want to see you like suffocate in some water tank because you can't.
I think she might. On some days, maybe. On some days, maybe.
You might deserve that.
That's horrific.
But
what kinds of stuff do you do on your channels?
So for me, the main thing is obviously I keep on YouTube. Actually, the main thing is the magic tricks. So people love seeing that. Like we do 15-second videos where it's literally at a Starbucks or McDonald's to start the magic trick. There's a girl next to you and she just reacts to the trick. And a lot of the times I give the trick away. People love that because otherwise they think it's just edited anyway.
Sure.
So if I show them how the trick's done, that's the thing.
And people love that because then they think they can do it themselves.
Exactly.
And then they can't because they're crap.
Well, it takes some more practice than the
takes
video.
a lot of,
I'll admit
exactly.
That.
It takes a lot.
We
you want to see
film a
my
few
trick?
times.
I can make Simphiwe disappear.
I got to see
It
this.
takes a second or two.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, and say the magic words.
Um,
Why am I not on screen? Are you ready?
Yeah, all right.
You want-
And magic dust. Oh my goodness.
Look at that. She's disappeared. And so did the mic.
Is this real?
Look, there's no
Oh.
Simphiwe anymore.
And you split her in half because the
Isn't that
bottom half
amazing?
of her is still. That's
And
in-
there she is
Ta-da!
again.
that is
See, I
incredible.
can do fucking tricks.
I have no idea how you did that, by the
I
way.
can do tricks. You see, I'm good at this. Do you think I have a chance?
Well, that's a great trick, by the way. Are you in on this?
I don't know how you did it.
Listen, I always wanted to know when they when they saw the woman in half. That's the next thing we're doing, Simphiwe.
Oh hell no, I'm not participating.
Simphiwe, you know when they saw the woman in half.
Yes.
How does that happen?
You know, I always say like there's different types of magic, obviously, as well. Like it's the same as with music, I guess is a good way of putting it. Like
Sure.
for me, that is, I obviously know how all those tricks are done, but for me, being there distant on a stage with like all this lights and stuff, I think people always think there's something going on there. So but yeah, I've revealed similar tricks to that. So
Well, it is a trick.
yeah, at the end
so
of the day, it's,
is it all lights and distance and
no, I would say it's just it's a combination of getting people to look where you want them to look, and then just hiding something that they're unaware of. So I always say, like, it's interesting you say that. Like, it's my whole life is basically becoming so good at something that no one even sees what I'm doing.
Now,
So-
do you use that in your real life? This is the question. It's like when you want to distract a family member, a friend, your girlfriend, you want them to pay attention to something else because let's say they start an argument with you. Are you able to do that successfully?
I wouldn't say successfully, no, but I have tried. Like, I think it becomes easier to hide something. So if I take like something from my girlfriend and I want to hide it, or so, let's say it's a gift, it's very easy because you figure that out. So, but that's about it. Like, I wish I could tell you guys I figured a way to just literally make money
I was
appear,
gonna
but
say that would be useful. I mean, you know, these people who say that they can pull a magic trick and then they win the lottery or they.
Have you ever like figure out the lotto numbers? Just tell me.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. But those are more the mentalists, right? So what is the difference then between the magicians, the mentalists, and the like street tricksters?
So for me, I actually do, I would say, all three of those.
Mhm.
So I also like mentalism because I think it's the strongest, like, I'm going to say magic. A lot of people wouldn't like if I used
Sure.
it. But it's like the strongest form of magic I think you can do because you're basically, it's so good because here in person, you're telling someone what they're thinking of, right? But it's not real, by the way. It's also just trickery. But I mean, for me, I like that in person. For the videos, I like more the visual magic, like changing money or changing lotto tickets into money.
Right.
And then, yeah, I would say the street magic would just basically be that, but literally just in a relatable environment. But yeah, those, you know, sawing the lady in half, that'll be more like your main illusions, where, you know, it's a little more theater as well. So for me, you'll notice all my videos, I just dress normal.
Yeah.
I want people to feel like, oh, I can do this too. You know, I want them to feel like this is someone that they just saw in McDonald's who's doing something cool. I don't necessarily want them to look at me.
And how long were you at Hogwarts before you learned to do all of these things?
What was the recruitment process like?
Do the other magicians get angry with you when you reveal these tricks?
Oh yeah, all the time. I always say, like, it's funny because they also got angry when we started posting videos.
Yeah.
Now everyone's doing it.
Yeah, of course.
So back when COVID started, you know, if you posted a TikTok video of a magic trick, I got so much hate messages, you know, saying, you know, magic's not for videos. It's, you know, you can't do that trick in real life.
From like Professor Dumbledore and
Usually it's the guy at the festival who's walking in like some type of, you know, turtle suit, you know, doing a few kid show tricks. But you know, just gonna leave that there.
It's weird that, you know, there is a magic community.
Yeah, actually there is. If yeah,
How do you know you're in it?
I guess if you just know enough people there and you know you're in it yourself. But again, it comes down to if you get too involved with that, a lot of the times those people never really see like true success in their careers, and that's kind of why I like distance from that.
You don't want to be doing kids parties, and you know.
Yeah, I mean,
you're like 48 years old, and you know the kids are like who's that horrible guy? You're like, no, he's here to do tricks, but I don't want to go near him. He looks like Jeffrey Epstein. I don't like that.
I know a few. I
You
know a
know?
few.
Yeah, and I mean, it's got to be make or break at some point.
Yeah.
There are these famous magicians that we were talking about earlier. There are people like you who've gone on to be very, very successful online. And you can probably do, and probably already have done, lots of live shows that people will pay to come to too. But it's so much easier to make a great video, and then millions of people can see it.
Yes.
Can't fit millions of people into an auditorium, right?
Well, yeah, and I mean that's how, when David Blaine started doing the street magic, like they hated him, right? Because they also thought like, a street magician is someone who puts down the table, has their cups and their balls, and they've got this top hat and they're doing this whole act. When he was going out in a t-shirt doing card tricks, and he didn't even have a presentation. He's just like, look, and he does the trick. And I think, that whenever there's something new, now we're in this age of social media, it's like people just don't want this change, but you're starting to see all these other people also realize like, okay, this is the way to go. Like everyone I've seen, even guys who were doing corporate here after here, because that's actually how I started.
Okay.
But they're doing corporate here after here. They're also trying their best to grow in content because they know how important that is.
Is there a certain number of magic tricks that can be done and that's it, or are there new ones being made up and people come up with new and original tricks all the time?
Yeah, it's some of the most clever people you'll ever see. Like they think of so many new tricks, so many new innovations. They sometimes use technology. So no, there's always like new tricks. I think at the moment I know a few thousand actually.
Wow.
But I'll be honest, like if you ask me, hey, do that one, I've got like a list of all the tricks so I never forget them. But if you ask me do this one, I'll have to take like 2 minutes to like try to remember how to do it. But like the main 100 or 200, I'll never forget.
The people who watch and listen to this show are such assholes. Slippery Pickle says, Gareth, I've got a magic trick for you. Give me 10,000 Rand, I'll make it disappear. Everyone's a comedian.
I think do it. I'd love to see that trick.
Yeah, magicians and comedians. Huh? That's what they all think they're. Who else is old enough to remember Martino the Magician from the 80s?
You don't know him.
No,
I didn't know of him either until people like asked me that every single day.
So people do know who this guy is.
I think I saw
South
him
Africa's only magician for a long time.
I think so, but I think he was more like the old school like type of.
Okay. So he probably did sawing ladies in half and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I know he did a lot of
the flower that squirts you. Oh no, that's clowns. So wrong one.
Well, he did a lot of those stuff at I think the end of his career, like more the kid style magic. I think that's where I saw him like at one.
So what kind of magic do you really love? Do you still enjoy card tricks, or do you find that a bit boring?
I do like card tricks. I don't know if you guys know the guy Shin Lim. He won America's Got Talent a few years ago.
Shin Lim bus stop for tang Ole biscuit barrel. That one?
But
no,
yeah, I think that might be his full
sister.
name.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah. Oh yeah, maybe his sister.
Okay. Yeah.
But so he went on America's Got Talent and he did just card tricks, and he actually won the show, and that like changed everyone's mind because I was also like kind of against card tricks. I was doing it for like 10 years, but then I felt like, okay, you know what? It's not that relatable, rather do stuff with just regular items, but he kind of brought card magic back. So I always say like, I like to do magic with everyday items and cards. Because it's just, I think people kind of expect that. It's like when you're a musician and you take out a guitar, no one thinks that's weird.
No, not
and
at all.
It's the same with
I would love to have a friend who's a magician to come and kind of entertain people sometimes. Wouldn't it be fun? Imagine you have all your friends. Do drunk people ask you to do the same trick over and over again?
Oh yeah.
Because they're trying to figure it out. Because they're trying to figure it out. And they're like, this time I'm going to figure it out. But they can never. Drunk people are useless, right? They're also a crappy audience.
I think they're the worst audience.
Yeah, because they're not paying attention.
Next to kids, because kids will tell you if they see something. Like I might slip something by here, and you might see something. You're not going to say it, right? But a kid, like they'll shout, "Who's got something in your hand?" It's the best way to know if a trick is good enough for the real world. So yeah. But yeah, man, look, I think drunk people are obviously horrible to perform for, but they also enjoy it the most. But they don't remember it the next day. So it's kind of pointless. That's why people become
DJs, magicians, musicians,
there you go.
Rappers. Because they know drunk people are an easy audience. I mean, they're dumber than kids. Let's just let's get to. Have you got some stuff here with you to do?
Sure,
tricks?
I've got some stuff here.
Okay, Simphiwe loves this.
All right, let's try something.
Let's do some.
Go ahead. So do you guys have like a phone on you? I guess you've got your phones on you, right?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Use mine.
So Gareth, I'm gonna send a photo to you, right? You've got an iPhone.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
Would you just put on your airdrop, yeah?
Okay.
All right, let's go.
Now I don't want you to look at this photo just yet.
Okay. Then look at the. Just
Airdrop
accept it.
on.
Just
All right.
accept it.
So you just tell me which one that is actually, because I see there's like 6
GC.
There we go. Yeah.
GC. Okay. Can I actually have your phone? I'm just gonna pop
Yeah,
it here
sure.
because I'm gonna accept it for you. I don't want you
No
to see it.
problem. Go
It'll
for
kind of ruin the trick. All right. Cool.
Go for
So
it.
we're gonna just click
Accept.
accept, and it's sending. Oh, you guys got some.
This is not magic, by the
Fast
way. This is
internet here.
called technology.
Yeah, there you go.
He
I hate
didn't
to break it
invent
to
this.
you. Yeah, this is so exciting for like here we
All
are.
right.
You know, Vian, I got bad news for you. This shit's been around a while. And a lot of people have
Damn
it.
it, there goes
This is
my
what you're
first trick.
charging people for. It's a bit of a rip-off.
All right, so don't look at the photo yet, right? That's
Yeah,
going to be
wait.
till the end.
Yeah.
Now, in my notes, I actually have a list of 100. It'll make sense in a second, but basically, when you Google like just top 100 celebrities, top 100 groceries, then I just copy and paste into my notes. Okay.
Cool.
So I'm going to actually ask you first to just name a number between 1 and 100.
Should I say it out loud?
Go ahead. So
We'll
everyone-
go with 51.
Are you sure?
Yes.
All right, cool. So I don't know if the camera's on here also, but if you look into my notes app, if we go to, I said celebrities, you'll see they're all different,
Mhm.
right? And we'll go to 51. I'll hold it like this. I don't know if the camera can see,
Simphiwe,
but
what's
Okay.
51?
I'll use you as the
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. And you can see they're all different. If you'll just name a
Yes,
few
we
there.
have like Madonna. We have Prince Harry at like 27.
Cool. And
No,
I'll
there's
go
no way. Prince Harry should be way below 100.
and I'll go up so you just can
Number
see.
1, Michael Jackson, you know.
All right, cool. So you'll see all the way through. They're all different,
Yeah,
right?
all different.
All right, cool. And then Gareth, I'm going to ask you to name a number between, I'll go out, a number between 1 and 100 as well.
98.
98. Are you sure? Do you want to change your mind?
No.
All right. Are you happy with the mind you've got?
Mhm.
All right. Someone got the joke back there, but okay. All right. So I'll go to groceries
Okay.
and I'll just scroll down so you can actually see what's.
Said 98, right?
Yes.
Coca-Cola.
And again, I'll hold
Fair
like this so
enough.
you could just see they're all different. If you'll just read a
there's
few.
honey, there's soap,
That's how many calories per sip.
you know, there's bread on here. Different rice.
All of them
number one.
different.
So
All
he's
right,
not
cool.
making it up. It's a legit list.
Yeah,
Okay.
cool. And-
Coca-Cola, Tom Cruise, what else?
All right. Well, we've never met before, right?
No.
Right. You don't have to sound
never-
so proud
no.
about it.
I've never
Okay.
I've never met you before. This is always exciting when you get to meet a magician
All
for
right.
the first time.
All right, cool. So just so everyone knows. So I sent you that photo. We didn't set anything up. I want you to go in there. But before you do, we have, I think, Tom Hanks.
Oh my
and-
God, you logged into my bank account and you've taken all my money. Son of a bitch. I knew I shouldn't have let a magician take my phone.
He took
I'm
a bit
fucking
too long,
taking
eh?
it all, Simphiwe. So can I look at the photo?
Okay, but before you do, we have Coca-Cola and I think Tom Hanks.
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. All right.
Yes,
Go ahead.
Mission
Go into the
Impossible.
photo and show the camera.
Dun, 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 dun,
the
dun,
photo I
dun,
sent you.
look at
Wait,
that.
what?
Tom Cruise sipping on a Coca-Cola at a obviously a sports match or something. That's pretty wild. But okay, now you can explain how that works because
What did you say for us to pick
Coca-Cola's
those
probably-
numbers?
Coca-Cola is probably one of the most famous brands in the world. I think when people think of groceries, it probably comes up in their top 10 all the time, right?
Yes.
And I think Tom Cruise, it doesn't help that it was number 98. You couldn't have known that. That's pretty amazing. Tom Cruise is probably the most famous actor. I know he was probably the most successful actor of this year
Mhm.
in terms of how much he gets paid.
Yes.
So it doesn't seem that much of a stretch. You know, if it was Helena Bonham Carter and a packet of,
I think so. So that's where the number like comes in, like getting you
yeah, how do you
at
get
the right
me
number.
to choose the
let
right
me
number?
let me actually show you something. My girlfriend's got a pack of cards there. I don't know if
Okay.
she could come into this.
Is
Is
video.
it,
she
is it
can.
all based off what you say beforehand, or is it like? Because I think in my head, in my mind, when I think of it, it's you prompt us with things, beforehand. Because by the time you say pick a number, subconsciously I'm thinking of the number you've chosen.
I
Am I
think
right
it's-
or wrong?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
But you did have a free choice essentially.
Okay.
So cool. So I'll show you guys something with some cards. So these are just it's just a pack
Regular
of cards.
cards.
Yeah, normal deck of cards, 79 cards. All right, just kidding. It's a joke. All right. So Simphiwe, I'm gonna ask you. You can see they're all different.
Yes.
It's not like it's just all the same card.
No, it's all been shuffled.
All right, cool. So what I want you to do is just pick anyone you want as they go by. All right. You could have had any card. That's very important to remember. Okay. Show Gareth. Don't show me. I'll look away. All right. Don't say the card and just shuffle it into
Can we show the
deck.
audience?
You can show the camera. Go ahead.
There we go. You guys can see it.
All right. And just shuffle it into the deck. Like any way you want. Because obviously people think I keep track of where it is.
I'm old school.
There you go. And I have...
Look at that. You're a gambler.
That's well done. That's well
That's how
done.
you play Crazy 8.
All right. Perfect. Most people don't want to shuffle cards. Like they say to me, I don't know how. She's just like, all right. You want to take over? Like, please. Okay.
No.
So if you ever need a job, you can be a croupier at the casino like tomorrow.
All right. So we're going to do a little lie detector test. By the way, you could have had any card, right? That's the fact. You shuffled the cards. All right, cool. So I'm going to show you guys a few cards. You know the card.
Yeah.
Okay. So the idea is you just have to lie or tell the truth. I'm supposed to be like the lie detector.
Okay.
I have to know when you're saying the truth. So I'm going to show you a card every time. And then I'm going to ask you, is this your card? And then you just say yes. Okay. That's the only word you use until the game's over. All right.
Oh, okay.
So
even if it's not the card.
yes.
Okay. Got
Is this your card?
Yes.
Okay. I think it's not. We'll just leave it there. So usually people say no then. And then I know like they don't understand the game yet. So I don't know. Maybe that was your card. Who knows? But okay. Is this your card?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to try Gareth as well. You're very good with this. I'm not saying...
Is this all about having a poker face or something, you know?
A little bit. Okay. So Gareth, just look at me first. All right. So I know like what you actually... Is this her card?
Yes.
That sounded a little... too confident, but I might be wrong.
Okay.
Okay, he's also very good. So I think I'm going to try one more time. Maybe with you again. Usually it's the last one. Okay, I need about 4 times. Is this your card?
Yes.
Right. All right. Okay. You sounded very like relaxed, like you didn't need to hide something.
She's a great bullshit artist.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to say that it was the last one. So you can stop lying now. The game's over. You can tell me the truth. Was it the last one, like the nearest one to you? Yes or no?
No.
Because I'm like putting all my money on that. Is that the one?
No.
Then what was it?
It was Queen of Hearts of...
No, Queen of Hearts.
Queen of Hearts. Okay. Well, that's why I say it's always the last one. Because if I show you, you'll actually see it's the Queen of Hearts.
Sana. No.
But
You put that.
here's the
Are
crazy
you
thing.
allowed into casinos?
well, here's the crazy thing, right? I was so convinced that it's a queen, right? I just didn't know which one because they're actually all queens. If I turn them over, you'll see that's a queen. If you turn those over,
No.
They're all queens.
That was very
so-
sharp. I didn't see any of that happening.
Like, how
Wow.
did you do it?
Can you keep a secret?
We was kangs and quanes. Huh?
There you go. So yeah, that's more like the card stuff. So for me, that's like the strongest stuff you can
What's
do.
this cards over here? Wait.
Go
hold on.
ahead.
How many packs of cards do you go through?
Actually, now not as many. When I was doing like events, it was quite a lot. Like I
Yeah.
would like run through them. I would say like for me, I always said it's like my cigarettes. So like anyone who would buy cigarettes,
Sure.
I would buy
You'd
about
always
that
have
same
packs of
amount
cards.
Yes,
And are you allowed in casinos? Because
am.
because you're not dealing with the cards.
they don't,
right?
that's I think why they don't give you the cards. If they did, it would be a different game. So
I mean, you would be able to change things. You'd get 21 every time in blackjack. It would
every
be pretty
single
wild.
time, it would be so easy
Do
actually.
you also know how to, what is it called? Card counting.
Yeah, that's a whole different skill, isn't it?
Card counting, like
Yeah, you know those
Yeah.
people who they have
Oh, they
a
keep
skill. They
track.
can figure out how many are left in the pack and what they're likely to be. They can do
Yeah,
calculations on the fly, and they can see everyone else's cards, and they can go, okay, well, if there are 2 10s out already, the likelihood of another 10 is very, very small. They can calculate this stuff. I mean,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
more of a it's more of a level of
cheating, I guess.
well, I suppose it is cheating because those people aren't allowed in casinos.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's an ability with numeracy that not everybody has.
Yes, they're just very good at keeping track of it. Like, they'll be able to remember more. Well, I actually have a trick where I had to study. I had to know the order of the whole deck.
Right.
Because you can do like such powerful tricks with that, and it's not that hard. Like you deal like 5 cards and you try to remember, and then you say to yourself what they are, and if you don't, you just go again. Then you do the next 5, the next 5.
Right.
But I forgot that whole order. Like every few months, I forget it
it's-
unless I'm continuously practicing it. But I think, you know, when I was performing, that was like obviously my bread and butter. So that was what I was doing all the time. And now like focusing more on the content, like obviously on YouTube, the magic thing is the main thing. So
what's your favorite trick to do because it gets the best reaction?
My favorite trick to do that gets the best reactions. Gee, the thing is, it depends on the setup. So we did something on a news, I think it was on ENCA a few years ago, when my brother was sitting backstage and he was like sending stuff to my phone, but there was such bad signal. We were like convinced it's not going to work. It ended up working, and the trick like paid off massively. But I said to my brother, like, never again. Like, let's play it safe. If we're live, if we're on TV, like, you don't want to be that guy who's like magician messes up on TV, I guess. So, but I say like I don't take it seriously. Like, I'm not telling you guys like, you know, this is like mind powers and I'm able to bend something with my mind. I think that's when it's hilarious when you mess up. Where if I mess up now, it's like you kind of expect it. It's like, okay, this trick didn't work. You know what I mean?
I think it's the most awesome thing to be able to do. It's entertaining, it's fun, it's light. You make people feel good. I don't see a downside to this. You know, everybody loves it. When, you know, a magician does something that you don't expect, then people laugh. They go, oh, they gasp. It's cool. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I think for me, exactly like you just said, it's this language that you can speak with anyone. And also it's really helped me build a following. So I think up until a few months ago, it was the biggest TikTok in the country.
Who's beaten you? Who's surpassed you?
I don't know. I don't know her name. I think our girlfriend knows.
Well, fuck her.
Oh no, yeah.
You could always turn her into an asshole. Literally an asshole. Imagine you could turn her into.
I've been trying to make her.
asshole.
I've been trying to make her disappear for months. I still haven't figured out that trick.
We'll figure that out.
I'll just take
telling you.
second, third spot or whatever I've got now. It's probably the way of the world. So.
And technology has also changed this game, right? I mean, now there are things that you can do in magic that are made possible by technology that you couldn't have done 5-10 years ago.
Yes. Yeah, it's actually magic tricks were kind of the stuff I learned in school. It's the same tricks I did for 10 years. Like, I didn't find anything else to be revolutionary. And then until like the last 3 years, people were like bringing tricks out that you can do, you know, with some type of technology built into like, you know, something that I won't say, but yeah.
Well, Viasan's calling you an umtagati. Because you have evil spells and good spells. Now, what is the difference between a magician and a wizard? I mean, there used to be real wizards, right? They were actually a thing back in like ancient England.
Yeah,
but they're not a thing anymore. They're only in fiction books.
Yes. Yeah.
So you don't call yourself a wizard.
No. I would, maybe if it's like a skit for a stage show, I don't know,
Okay.
but sure, no. I think for me, it's I guess a good word. It's like trickster. Not that I've ever called myself that or think that's a thing, but that's a good way of understanding like what I do. I'm literally just deceiving you.
Have you ever used magic on the Metro Police?
No.
That would be the best place to use it.
I saw a guy
Can
go.
you imagine, Simphiwe?
Found a new way to pay for a Coke.
Right?
You're saying that we did a video where I was I mean, if it's like, you know, fully going into a video trying to get a viral thing, we did this thing where I was standing against the wall with like a beer bottle and I'm like moving around a little bit, and the police officer comes up and he's like, you can't be drinking here. So I put it in a paper bag and I just make it vanish. And then he just stands there and looks. We also had, I think I think like 4 years ago, we had like a traffic officer pull us down. And I remember seeing a video of a guy going viral, showing them Rubik's Cube tricks. And I also got out and I showed him a few tricks. I don't know if he wanted to give us a ticket or so and, you know, got out of it that way. I don't really remember. I can't say. But they were like also amazed. Like, because they don't expect it. You know, it's just
so
a day.
You can get out of tight situations. I like that. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Like, I guess I wouldn't recommend it.
Does it irritate you? You were just now, I'm sure over the holidays, you were with family and friends. Does it irritate you when people go, oh, do that trick? You know, like a comedian has to make everyone laugh. They go, come on, tell them a joke. And you're like your uncles, some grandma or whatever. They're like, do the joke thing, do the trick thing.
I hear
Does it drive you crazy?
At the start, it didn't, because I thought like, okay, you know, people just want to see a trick. I would ask the same, but It's a very, very good point, because later on I realized like I can't go anywhere without cards. And that's why I started doing tricks on the phone and just borrowing someone's ring and doing stuff like that. But yeah, eventually, I mean, you don't want to be rude and say, no, I do love it. You know, I mean, I don't mind doing a magic trick if I'm doing an interview or anything like that. But yeah, it does reach a point where you're just like, hey, can I just enjoy this meal, right? So I always say, like, when someone comes up to ask for a photo, which I enjoy, by the way, I think it's because I don't necessarily have the audience in front of me like a musician or a sports star. So mine is just like a number, and then I see them at the mall. I'm always keen for a photo. Like I tell people, you can always ask for a photo. But, you know, when someone comes up and they're like, Vian, do a trick.
Oh,
it's like...
That's like dance monkey dance.
Yeah, it's like, dude,
no,
like I'm also, you know, trying to get to, I'm like, photo, please. Like that's a compliment. If I said no, I'd be rude. But if you're asking me, like, can you get something, entertain me for 10 minutes?
When are you going to release your girlfriend from your spell?
Well, I actually
blink once if you want to leave.
You said like
how long have you guys been together?
It's been 3 years now, so this will be our fourth. Yeah,
and we actually never got bored with his tricks.
Well, she does. She
does?
actually
How long do you practice for, by the way? I mean, because she would live with you, and then she would have to see you like fucking around with cards the whole time, and it would be very boring for her.
Well, and she's probably seen him get the things wrong and be like, oh.
Yeah, she does. Yeah. Well, look, I think at the start, like I pretty much learned everything. So I dedicated so much time. I obsessed over it. So now there's not really much practice that goes into it. It's just like if I perform, like if I showed you this trick now,
for you, it's like riding a bicycle.
I think so, yeah. But I actually met her on a TV show we did. So the TV show was called Vian.
Oh.
And she was on the first episode and literally the first scene. So when the camera was rolling, she ran past me and she's like, your shoelace is untied, and I like shake it and then it ties. And that was actually when we met as well. Like she was, we met on the camera.
Sight.
That's very cool.
So yeah, and then I asked her to be in a TikTok video. Just my way of getting her Instagram, basically. So that's another thing I did with magic. So it's not like I can, you know, make money or bribe the police, but I guess you can entertain the police, or you could just start the conversation with the girl.
It's nice to meet you, and thank you for entertaining us this morning.
No, thank you guys so much.
Simphiwe is never going to get over that card trick, but she is going to the casino after this.
Hey, man, I need some tips though.
Just show us again how you shuffle those cards. That was impressive.
That was incredible.
Huh? I mean, I know you do the tricks.
School.
Just watch this. Watch.
That's incredible. That's unbelievable.
Simphiwe, I'm going to hire you for next time we have a poker game.
She should get on a social media account. Get on TikTok.
Oh, that's very cool. Listen, dude, well done. And congrats on the career you've got so far. And I'm sure it's going to go to all kinds of exciting places.
No, thanks.
I think it's an amazing skill that not a lot of people have. And you obviously are really good at this.
I appreciate it. And, you know, it's the same with TikTok. I just say you just have to put in the work. You just have to put out the content. And with time, your views will grow. Everyone starts at zero. So although I've grown this massive audience, you don't necessarily need like a specific magic trick or anything. I think it's something that anyone can do. And
Isn't the internet great? That's the real magic, right? Is that anybody can do the most bizarre thing, and you could end up being like a big star and making money out of it and having a career from it. What would you have done if you didn't go into music?
Into magic, yeah.
I mean,
I would have done something in social media. I think social media is the new way of the world. I think everyone wants attention. You
wouldn't have been a lawyer or an accountant.
I don't think so. I was never into like the 9-to-5 type job. But as I got older, like past 25, I kind of started enjoying answering emails. So I was like, you know,
we need to stop that.
I'll never take like the real job. But I think, you know, always something in social media. I love having, you know, the following. I love, you know, working with brands, and I think everyone kind of wants to get into that in their own niche as well. But yeah, definitely something in social media as well. Yeah.
I love it. Well done.
Cool. No,
very cool.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you, Sims. And we will see you on Monday at 6 a.m. bright and early. Have an awesome weekend. Cheers, everybody.
Bye.
Manus, haal je vinger uit mijn anus. Doe niet zo abnormaal. Doe niet zo animaal. Manus, haal je vinger uit mijn anus. Doe weg die poot. Of je krijgt een stoot.
Oh Nel, ik ben biseksueel. Maar ja, ik kan daar niks aan doen.